Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However, you happen to be watching or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the latest episode of the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast that, for reasons, we had to take a week off, but we're back. And of course, we are back on an aptly titled show called Scandals and Delay. We had to delay the show a week. And there's some scandals in our personal lives that had to make that happen.
I feel like I took a month off. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Based on the news, guys, I feel like I've been away for far too long, and I'm all discombobulated as to everything that we have to discuss. But let's get into it. Of course, I am your host, Mr. TKO Asante. Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, everywhere you want to find me and all that. And of course, you heard my illustrious co-host, Mr. Everborn Saga. How are you doing this morning, sir? Oh. I see you are muted.
I would be doing great if I wasn't on mute. But now I'm better. No, man, I'm doing good. I was feeling under the weather. I'm back, and I'm happy to report that we are in full development of the Redlands game.
Yes, sir. Right? Yes,
we're
sir.
Pushing
Congratulations,
out daily builds at this point. Very excited.
Okay.
Now, show it to people, I will, but we are not anywhere near there yet.
That's the question I was going to ask you. Are you at a point where people can see it yet, or?
Well, I mean, you're a person, you can see it, but normal people, you know, the public doesn't understand things, man.
Sure. So you have to wait until you get it to a place where they can actually see what you're trying to show them.
Yes, because you have to treat people like children.
I understand. Welcome, Pragmatic Eagle. I see J Mo Money's in here. Oh, Mr. Joanna Dark decided to leave a scandalous message right at the top before even the show started. So I think that's for you, Mr. Everborn Saga.
Oh yeah, J Mo Money. I see you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
His son Ron, and he are doing quite all right. Glad to hear.
Now it's just gonna be a meme. Is that the case? How you doing there, Big Bad Mo? It's good to see you,
and
sir.
You know what? I will find a way to discuss Sonic.
Oh, of course you do. It's what you do, man. It's part of your shtick at this point. You know, what are you going to do about it? And if you don't even do it, then we feel sad. You know, what happened to the Sonic talk?
Listen, man.
See, we've already done it right now.
Exactly. If somebody's getting acquired, you know what I'm saying?
So let's start this as we always do. We have some game talk to be had. I wonder what's been keeping you busy this week. As for games I have been playing, as you can see on your screen, well, for those who are watching on the screen, I'm playing Singularity. Do you remember that game, Everborn?
Nope.
You don't remember Singularity?
Not
it's made by and you just saw the splash screen on the screen there. Made by a wonderful studio called Ravensoft, if you recall who they are. Yes. This was them at their, not the height of their powers, but on their way there. You know what I mean? This is when they were really being counted among the working developers of its time. This is early 2000s, if you will.
Okay, well, for early 2000s, this looks good, but
this was great in its time.
Right now.
Yeah. Oh, you know, by today's standards now, you know, this was them before they were allowed to really get there. You know,
that's the problem with like 3D graphics as a whole, or art. I guess it depends on the art style. You fall into the uncanny valley really quick, and it's really hard to get out of it. So in the moment, things will look great to your eyes because you haven't seen like this fidelity before. But as you go forward, it just looks garbage. And
come on,
and this is not to disrespect their work. It's just the nature of the 3D medium. But it's like
to understand that of its time, it was really good.
I get that. I just want to point out that 2D is timeless. It doesn't matter when it comes out. It could. And
you know what else I found is timeless?
And it would still work.
Do you know what I also have found is timeless? Oddly enough, another game I've been playing, which I don't have footage of, unfortunately, because I just don't feel the energy to go through the process of capturing that footage. I have been playing Jet Set Radio Future on the Steam Deck. The cel-shaded 3D world is pretty damn cool. Like it still holds up. It's really
not
cool.
Good in anime. It's terrible in anime. Every anime that uses it is garbage. But there's a new Dragon Ball movie that's going to use that. We'll see how that turns out. But yeah, cell shaded. It works just like for Wind Waker, one of the greatest Zelda games of all time.
Exactly. Well, I don't know about that second part, but I will say that the art style is timeless.
I thought you were enlightened. Turns out you're a troglodyte.
You know. Turns out you're a troglodyte. Damn.
I would be lying if I didn't say I was disappointed.
So slanderous this morning. Jesus. All right. Well, you know what? I will. It'll make you happy to know that since, as you know, right, I've been going through my Steam Deck, going through my experimental phase where I'm literally trying to find any and everything that I can play on this thing. I have been successfully this week. I was like, and you've heard that I've been on my mission trying to, work my way up to the modern consoles. This week I was like, screw it, let's go for broke. I am like going all in on dumping some Switch games and playing Switch on this thing. I mean, I'd done Breath of the Wild before, but I was like, you know what? Now I'm gonna do, all some different type of games. My daughter has wanted me to get. Go ahead.
How difficult is it on the Steam Deck? By the way, before you answer that question,
go ahead.
Since I got the Steam Deck, I have not turned on the Xbox, and I've exclusively been playing in xCloud.
Exactly. So, but see, here's the thing, though. That does not mean that you haven't been playing Xbox.
I know, that's the beauty of it.
Look at that. That's the beauty.
That is the beauty of it. Halo, I've been playing.
Can you play Halo well on the Steam Deck?
No, but I keep trying. It's not for lack of trying. I can't play.
Yeah. The control scheme there's just a little bit missing there. I don't know.
Well,
you could prop it up and put an Xbox controller, then you in there, but still.
No, for me, it's just kind of the latency. It's like it's right there, but not, and it just makes it like a much less enjoyable experience. But TMNT, As Dusk Falls, those kinds of games, again, coming back to 2D is timeless.
Yes, sir. Yes,
it all works.
Indeed.
But anyway, please continue with the Switch emulation.
Oh, yeah. So I basically decided that I was gonna, really give it a shot. My daughter wanted me to get her Kirby for a while now, the new Kirby. So I was like, you know what? For the purpose of the fact that I know my daughter wants to play it herself, and I want to, see if I can get it running on Steam Deck, I bought it, and then I also bought Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And both, long story short, emulated beautifully on Steam Deck. They run like butter, like absolutely great. Like it's just unbelievable how well these things run on this thing. And I'm just like, wow, this is just amazing. So now my mission is to actually, because I was like, okay, I've been playing with this thing, am I actually going to game long term on with these emulators and really be able to, get the benefit of the game like I used to? And starting with Jet Set Future, I'm totally in there. I'm I think at least 10 hours in. I'm still loving the process of playing. It's awesome. It's 99% perfect. There's one thing that's absolutely wrong with it that kind of breaks the game on Steam Deck, and this is Jet Set Future I'm talking about right now. But the developers of the emulator are iterating quickly. Like every 2 days there's a new build. Every time it's smoothing out. So
I bought the new Metroid and literally only played like a half hour of it.
Maybe on the Steam Deck it might give you new life.
I want to emulate it, and it's totally legal because I bought the game.
True.
I want to emulate it and play it on the Steam Deck. I think that's where I'm going to experience
exactly.
That
oh, and the best part about it is, so here's the fun part. Okay, here's the part that makes me happy. So some of these games, most of these games, 30 frames per second on Switch, right? And the way they are, because they knew they were developing for Switch at Jump, when you play them on when you emulate them on any other system, they are locked at 30 frames per second. But they can do more because the cutscenes, they don't put any locks on them. So those cutscenes run at like 200 frames per second, depending on how powerful your machine is. You understand?
But here's the thing. I bet it's a solid 30 frames a second, unlike
on the Switch. Solid 30 frames per second. But here's the fun part. You can then literally, because it's just a hex file somewhere in the code.
I'm not doing that.
Well, but here's the best part. You don't have to go through that process. Someone's already done it. All they do is they create a patch called the 60 frames per second patch. You take the patch and you put it on top of the game. It patches it for you. and now you're playing it at 60 frames per second.
Okay,
it's very interesting. So games that are locked on Switch's old, Abacus hardware are no longer. They're free now to play on more, quality hardware. I shall say.
I'm not gonna play Breath of the Wild again, but I do want to see what it looks like at 60 FPS.
It's beautiful, bro. Actually, you know what? As much as you love Breath of the Wild, why have you not tried playing that on your PC? Because then you're playing at 4K 60, like really doing it. You can do that. Same emulation, same exact software. Yuzu, there's a Windows version.
So here's my problem.
It's even easier on Windows because you can just point and click.
Here's my problem with going back and playing these old games.
Okay. I mean, can you really call Breath of the Wild an old game?
No, that's not what I mean. Old game is the wrong word. Going back and playing games that I've beaten.
Okay.
Right?
Sure. Okay.
There's so much in my backlog for me to go back and beat a game that I've already beat. And for me, gaming is about the sense of completion and accomplishment.
NLB, newest, latest, best?
Yes, it is. Well, it's not newest, latest, best. It is the machine has, as in the game, the computer. The machine
salute to the man, Pixel Bit G, and you are correct, sir. Dreamcast on Steam Deck is indeed amazing.
Now, what I do want to play is Sonic Adventures. With
and I have Sonic Adventures 2. Oh man, it's chef's kiss, and you can. And the reason why it's chef's kiss,
you know what? Don't even tell me. You
can duplicate the internal resolution, so then all of a sudden it's like no pixels, nothing. It's just
what you and I are going to do is walk through getting Sonic Adventures 2 on the Steam Deck after this show. That's what you and I are going to do. And I know you have an appointment, but that can wait.
I do. Oh yeah, sure. I'm sure my daughter thinks so.
No, but seriously, in general, if I've beaten a game, I don't want to go back and play it again because there's not new things, but other things in my backlog.
Other things to experience. That's right. Yeah.
Right.
And in general, I'm with you on that. I am the NLB guy. I'm newest, latest, best, 100%. It's just Steam Deck is kind of given new life to some of these old games that I have nostalgia for, and it's actually forcing me to go, not forcing me, but like enticing me, if you will, to go back and playing some of these games, like not even games I've beaten, but games that I wanted to beat way back in the day that I didn't have time for.
Look at Slovo's cover.
Oh, here he go. There he go. Oh, yes, sir. It's almost complete. Yes, as he twiddles his hands there, Palpatine. Oh man,
I'm still using my Steam Deck as a handheld Xbox,
which is absolutely
haven't
perfect.
Got me yet.
Like it's. Do you know what I did this morning? Have you heard of there's this game? What is it? Rocket Golf or whatever. It's basically Rocket League but for golf. Oh man, I have to pull up Game Pass real quick and check and tell you it's in early access, but it's basically Rocket League, which is basically what for those who aren't aware, the two humans on Earth that aren't aware, Rocket League is soccer. But I'm sorry,
I'm one of those two humans.
You're one of those two humans. Okay, well,
Rocket League a day.
Rocket League is soccer with Micro Machine cars. That's literally what Rocket League is.
Okay.
Soccer with Micro Machine cars. And this new one is called Turbo Golf Racing. Of course, not by the people who made Rocket League, but it's literally Rocket League. But what it did for soccer, it's now doing for golf.
Interesting.
So I was like, that's a weird concept. Let's see, because I initially thought Rocket League would not work, and I'm amazed at how well it does work. So instead of going to download the thing, boom, on Steam Deck, turn on the Game Pass xCloud app, boom, and you're playing. You know, the latency is so low, it's basically 1-to-1. I will tell you though, if you're used to playing natively on that screen, when you play on the xCloud screen, xCloud version of the game, you can see it's washed out a little bit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It loses a bit of rendering. But the plus side of this whole story is recently Microsoft did come out. They shared a video on their YouTube channel where they were exalting all the benefits of xCloud and all that. And they did say, hey, you know, you can use this xCloud app as a solution on Steam Deck while they work on a more permanent solution. So I hope that means eventually we get away from just this version, or somehow they're able to
if
punch up
Microsoft
the image,
buys Valve, then the Steam Deck becomes an Xbox handheld, and then you don't. I
don't think Microsoft needs to buy Valve for that to happen. Like, because look, I have realized that the Steam Deck can be many different things to many different people. To you, it can be content as being an xCloud device, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
I need to clarify what it is. It's not simply an xCloud device because, again, I work from home and I'm not like gaming on the go. Yeah. But I do a lot of gaming in bed at night while the missus is sleeping. And as we've discussed, the goddamn Xbox controller is like Gregory Hines at 2:00 in the morning.
Oh, that's a good pull, brother. That's a good pull. Tells the world how old you are.
Right? So I don't know who decided to design the controller, the clickety-clack controller buttons like that. But the amount of side eyes that I've gotten while I'm just trying to play a game, you know what I'm saying, at night, which is when most of the time when I have time.
Them daggers that have been thrown at you.
So now the Steam Deck, the same games I would have been playing, I'm right there with the nice squishy buttons, not making no noise.
You do realize there's a, and I mean this has absolutely nothing to do with it, but there's a chemical you can buy on Amazon that you can pour in between your buttons, and it'll stop it from being so clickety clack. It'll kind of smoothen it out
on the Xbox.
On the Xbox, yeah. Actually any button that's like too squishy or too hard, you can like pour it in there, and it like kind of smooths.
And it won't ruin your controller
it's like liquid. It's meant to kind of lubricate the gyros, if you will. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, for those who have like mushy buttons, that exists. Yeah.
Yeah,
so there you go.
No, you need to send me the link for that.
Oh yeah, I can do that for sure. Yeah, I'll actually post it on my Twitter. It's actually useful. I mean, it's ridiculous, but you're a gamer. Every once in a while, you need to clean your stuff up. That stuff helps. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, but the Xbox controllers are designed that way.
No, I know.
Like they want it to sound like a mechanical keyboard, and it was a terrible design decision. Horrible.
I understand. So, okay. Besides that, the last game I've really been getting into is what do you call it? Elite, Sniper Elite 3. I thought I'd give that a shot too. It's actually so much fun, that game. You're ramboing around during Nazi time, sabotaging stuff, headshots, X-rays, blowing people's parts off. It's great fun. It's absolutely good fun. Have you ever played that?
What's the name of it?
Sniper Elite 3. Sniper Elite 5. My bad. Sniper Elite 5. No, the recent one that came out on Game Pass.
Definitely not Sniper Elite 5. I heard a lot of people talking about it, but
another one of those things where it sounds interesting. You don't want to commit the 15 gig or whatever. Game Pass, quick xCloud. You're playing it. Just try it out real quick. It's absolutely really cool.
All right, so
good sir. You tell me what has been keeping you busy this week. What you been playing?
This. I don't know if you can
see. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For those, hold on. Let me see if I can maximize. Can I? Well, no.
Well, no, don't maximize. I don't want everybody to see all this stuff yet. I'm just showing everybody the splash screen.
Okay.
I don't know if this will start.
So what you're looking at, good people, is the beginning of Ye Everborn Saga: The Redlands beat 'em up that is now in active production. That some people may or may not be getting active emails every time they release a build every 20 minutes. Yes. They are quickly iterating. I'm telling you what.
And the worst part is because your UDID is not registered, and I'm doing most of the testing on iPhone, you're getting notifications for builds you can't try.
Mm-hmm.
But the Android builds, you get those once a day. Right?
I did install the Android build.
Yes,
I did install the Android build.
I do an obligatory Android build once a day because everyone working on the game uses Android, like all the artists and stuff. So
because everybody else on your team is enlightened, you have to adhere to them while still staying in your troglodyte ways. I understand. Hey, man, okay, continue.
What can I say? All I'm saying is, and also I just want to take a moment to stan for Unity Cloud Build. I don't know if Unreal offers something like that, but basically they kind of automate your entire development infrastructure pipeline. So we use like Plastic SMC for version control, and then the Cloud Build thing gives you an agent to where you can kind of keep working locally, so you don't have to stop working on it while it's doing a build, because you offload that to the cloud. And they basically spin up an agent, and it takes you whatever the latest check-in is from whatever branch you have it configured to, and it just builds what you have. And that takes like 20 minutes, but you're not stopping work while it's working.
Pretty cool, man. That's
pretty really awesome. Great. I really recommend more people just kind of get into it. And you don't have to do like a high production thing. Just start making some games, man. If nobody's gonna see it.
Something goofy. Yeah. And I've done it. Even I've done it. You can go and get a bunch of free stuff on the Unity store or the Unreal store. Hell, Humble Bundles. They throw development assets at you all the time. You know, use it as your way of learning, getting your feet wet, learning to code. You can literally go through like a step-by-step weekend warrior type situation and build a game at the same time. I've done it multiple times. It's pretty fun. But okay, so
last thing.
Continue.
Just for the guys that are interested in this stuff.
Yeah. Very interesting.
And they have this in Unreal as well, but Unity has like the asset store, and they have like full projects, so you can kind of pick the kind of game you want and learn how it works and the pieces you'll need for it, and then you can kind of build it out from there, or just use that to learn how to make this genre of game, and then start something new from scratch. But you'll know all the pieces you need, and it's a great way to learn how to make
components you need for an RPG versus a beat 'em up versus a platformer.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And the beauty is all of these things are interchangeable. So you might see like I like this virtual joystick mechanic that I can get. Let me just grab that and just pop it in
and use that in your problem.
Work.
That's great.
Or I might like how these particle effects work. Let me grab those and throw them in the project. It's really good, and it shows you this is why you can have a one-man team do these things, because a lot of these things are taken care of for you. You can just focus on making your game. So that's where we're at with the Everborn stuff. Hey, Web Dave, I see you in the chat.
I was about to say, Web Dave got you, man.
Please DM me. I apologize I haven't gotten back to you before, but life has been insane at the moment. But please, let's do that soon.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is Everborn Developer. We don't see him often. We should see more of him. This is great.
No,
great
I like
stuff.
Playing dumb, so I can ask ridiculous questions.
So you can ask ridiculous questions that you know answers to already. I'm saying. and on that theme, we might actually have another developer that'll join us before the show ends today. I hope he's able to do so. But yeah, let's continue on. So that's been taking up most of your week, huh? You and the team have been digging through it.
I've been doing that instead of my actual work.
Oh boy!
Actually, let me not. No, I've been working fully.
Don't let the people.
I don't know why I said that. I've been fully working.
That's right.
I have not started any of this until 6:01.
That's right. Indeed. That's right. So okay, before we move into some stories that we want to talk about, let me show one more game that I've been playing, and that's a game called Proteus. Have you seen this game before?
No.
It is of course, on Game Pass. This is Game Pass from the PC. I'm showing because it's easier to
Game Pass PC. Ew.
Yes, it is easier to record footage on this than it is on the damn Xbox. So it is what it is. On this way, you capture it. Boom! It's right there on the PC. Same PC that I use to broadcast. So it makes life a little easier. And besides, on PC, 4K 60, 4K 120, 4K 144. So we good, But anyway, the reason why I brought this up is because I want you to take a look at the graphics and the aesthetics and the choices that were made here. It is so interesting. Obviously, it evokes a Doom, old school Doom aesthetic. But I want you to look at the quality. And shout out to Mr. Slow-Mo Backslap. Mr. PCMR over here. he's already dropping the snide remarks. No, don't do that. Let the stuff speak for itself, sir.
I mean, it's a little.
Check this out.
I don't know if I like it.
It's Doom. Obviously, it's made for Doom, made from that Doom engine, that OG Doom engine. But like for the first few minutes of this game, like the quality of the graphics just astounded me. And obviously on this screen, it won't do it justice. You need to see it in 4K for yourself on a big screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say this does not look good.
Oh, it is amazing. It's almost stop motion. Like it's almost like you're playing a stop motion movie. Like it's so good. It's very, very well executed. The graphic quality, the choices they've made, it's literally based off of the 90s Doom aesthetic. You know that game, right?
Yeah, no,
old school Doom. Yeah. But they basically, it is old school Doom the way you think you remember it, but at that time there's no way they could have done all the particle effects in the water and the lights and all of that. There's no way they could have done any of this the way they're doing it now. But it's supposed to it's like nostalgia enhanced, basically, is what this is. But it's very cool. It's very cool. You should check it out. And again, like I said,
one thing I want to point out, Slow-Mo is correct. Xbox Record has been busted since the series.
It's a piece of crap since day one. Yeah.
If I ever get that job at Xbox, I'm telling them I want to work on the video capture team. just so I can either ask questions or shame them into
as much as possible. Yes. No, but seriously,
it doesn't look good.
It doesn't. You should look at it. You should honestly watch play this game. Yeah. If you have any nostalgia for the old school, this game graphically and when you get closer to it, it gets pixelated like the old school. But it's not a pixel game. It's very interesting the aesthetic they chose here. But yes, anyway, I thought I'd share this one as well. And I think it's made by a very small team. Very, very cool kind of mixing old school with new school style that I appreciated.
When did this come out?
This has been out for some time. I think it's been out for a year or two. Let me.
I thought you were going to say like a decade or two. The way this looks.
See, but don't you understand? They're using the old Doom engine.
I respect what they're doing. I love.
Says the man trying to make a beat 'em up right now. Like, what are you doing?
I get it.
Yes, it's meant to look old school, but what's cool about it is, as old school as it looks, and it does.
You're not good at this, by the way. You just keep falling.
No, yeah, I'm terrible at this game. But I'm unabashed. I'm terrible at this game, and I have no issues sharing my terrible game footage so y'all can just clown me in public. It's cool. I'm good with it. Go ahead. Absolutely terrible at this game. It's fine. Yes. See, look, you see me making changes to the control scheme because I'm just like, yo, this is a little weird. Like something's off.
It's a too much.
So anyways, no, I really think as people have been talking, and I'll skip through some of the footage here. As people have been talking about, there is no I agree that there isn't really a lot of crazy AAA games out right now, but this was in my backlog because it's been out for a while, and I thought, hey, let me give it a shot. I love Doom, the Doom style, not even the old school, the new school as well. I've always enjoyed the walking around killing monsters and stuff, and how they try to keep it interesting. And I really think this one is a very interesting.
Do you have any gameplay of Neon White? I keep hearing people talk about this game.
I do not have gameplay of Neon White because I've been playing that exclusively on Steam Deck, and I don't want to go through the process of capturing footage on there. But if you give me a minute, I can kind of grab you a trailer for it and share the screen.
Sure.
Let's show you. Yeah. So why are you interested in the game?
No, not in the slightest. I just I keep hearing people talk about it, and
my god!
Now I'll tell you what I am interested in.
What are you?
Naraka Blade Point now has a campaign mode, which means I don't have to play.
It's officially have come out. You've heard that officially. When did that release?
Like today or yesterday.
Oh, great! Because I've been waiting for that. So that's news to me. Now I'm ready to play.
Zero interest in playing with people. But I was very interested in the game So now that they have PvE, I'm down.
Oh, okay, very very cool. Hey, and shout out to Gerald Mack. Shout out. Well, no, I'll get back to you real quick. Shout out to Gerald Mack. Yes, sir. I've downloaded Contractors to the VR headset. I need a Sherpa to guide me through some things. So maybe this weekend, if not today, tomorrow, we could get together and you could, show me some of the finer points. But yes, I'm ready to jump in on that, and I hope we get a team together and run through that game a couple times. I hear it's pretty cool. Basically, to my understanding, tactical Call of Duty in VR sounds real cool. I want to check it out. So okay, you wanted to see some gameplay footage of Neon White. So let's do that for you real quick. Let me see here. Let me switch the footage here, and let me show the. Here you go. Here's a walkthrough. I don't know if you're looking at the screen right now, sir. Are you looking at the screen? I don't know. Mr. Everborn Saga, are you around?
I'm on Everborn, but I'm looking at the screen.
Okay, so. Just real quick, it's basically, look, here's the active gameplay. So you got to get to the goal as quickly as possible, but in doing so, you also have to accomplish certain tasks to get there, and you have to do it as quickly as possible. And usually the tasks they start off simple, and it starts getting in various more. They start layering it. Like there are certain, and it's card based, but usually. I'm not a big card-based kind of gamer. I don't like card-based games often, but this puts the cards very much in a very basic, rudimentary kind of format for you. So it's really easy to understand, and it doesn't get overwhelming as card games tend to, in my humble opinion. So basically, like you need a double jump. Some card, when you discard a card, that gives you a jump, and then you can jump again, and that's how you double jump. While in order to traverse to get to the place you need to get to, and you trying to get there confused. Fast. It's crazy. Like just look at the gameplay. They layer things on top while you're also trying to kill these beasties, and capturing cards that are giving you guns that you can then use to fire at the demons that are in front of you. It's an interesting concept, and it layers more and more complication as you go along. And then it times how quickly you're able to finish one level. So see, this dude is using one is a sword. Obviously, sword will not work at range, so you have to switch to the card that gives you the machine gun, and in doing so, you're able to shoot further range and destroy your enemies.
Okay, so I love the idea when game developers try to introduce new mechanics instead of just saying, here's my version of the same old thing. Yep. Ironic that I'm making an Everborn version of a beat 'em up while saying that, but I do.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. I do respect. I respect this. I'm not interested in it.
Well, what I will tell you is, when it comes to this, it is better to play than to watch. It's
usually how
once you understand.
Well, not these
once
days,
you understand the nuances of the game, then when you see it, you understand why it's exhilarating and exciting. But if you haven't really put your hands on it yourself, and you're watching the gameplay, it seems a little bit stilted. It seems a little bit like, what's the big deal? You know what I'm saying? And the levels, while different, and as you can see, they're different. They're also kind of variations on themselves, right? And it changes things up, and in later levels it will change things up, but it just doesn't show immediately, without the context. So it's one of those things where if you have the opportunity to just try it, you should. But yeah, it is a really good game. That said, I've been playing it off and on. I haven't really been like mainlining the game as some folks have. So maybe that tells you what I think of it as well. But okay, so and I said all that, and then I'll ask the question: Everborn, are you ever going to try to play this?
Absolutely not.
Okay then.
But I respect it.
You respect it. Understood. Yes. It's good to know. See, I knew that was going to be the case, but I thought I'd ask anyway. All right. So let us move on. Okay. So let's start off with some light topics. Now, full disclosure, there's been so much news that has happened since the last time we podcasted, and I kind of don't even remember all of the things we talked about and where we left off. So I just picked some interesting things that I had seen in the environment that I thought
Sony
we
crying better be on your list. That's all I'm
It is on the list. We'll definitely talk about it.
Okay, no problem.
That I thought would be interesting that we talk about. But I invite the chat, gentlemen, ladies, anybody who's out there, if you have any interesting things that you think we should bring up, please don't be afraid to pop it in the chat. Get our attention. I'm keeping an eye on the chat.
Hold on a minute. I want to address Slow-Mo's last comment.
Oh, all right. So let's put that in full focus. Yeah, everyone doesn't play any AAA bangers.
Here's the
thing.
But
it's confused why he's an Xbox fan.
I play the big name titles and the throwback old school stuff. That's what I play. So if you give me a TMNT, I'm about that all day. Give me a Sonic. Are you saying Sonic's a AAA banger? I agree with you, but it's glad that you've now been enlightened, sir.
All right. We are not going to derail the show with more back and forth slander. I understand. Oh man! All right. Let's moving on. So, as I was saying, I'm appreciating that folks in the chat. If there's something that we haven't brought up, please do so. If you're in the chat, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hey, by the way, we hit a pretty decent milestone, 600 subscribers today. I saw that this morning. I was pleasantly surprised. So thank you to everybody who has subscribed already. This is pretty awesome. We're at this rate, we will hit our 1,000 subscriber mark by the end of the year.
We will hit 1,000 when the Activision deal closes.
Which hopefully will be this year.
Yeah,
I don't want to use that as the milestone in case it slips. No.
I think it'll be this year, and not because Michael Pachter said it.
Okay, understood. Okay. But yeah, we are on our way, and we appreciate all y'all who have been sticking with us and keeping and supporting us, even on the days when life happens and we're not able to have a show. You guys still sticking with us and always joining us, so we appreciate that. But okay,
wait, hold on. Sorry. Just one thing. Yes, I did see the TMNT movie on Netflix last night. Came out yesterday. Very good. I didn't finish it. I think I have like 20 minutes left. I have not seen it.
Broad alert on me.
I don't know how I feel about Raph being the leader and Leo being the carefree.
Hey now.
That's the whole.
Are you dropping spoilers right now?
I'm not dropping spoilers because it's based on the new TV series. So if you're watching the new TV series, you'll see that that's how it's sort of designed.
This is not one of those things where they have do-rags on their heads, is it?
It is.
Oh Lord, I hate that one.
And then they're different sizes, which I actually think that makes sense. But so here's the thing. In Western animation, we've always been like they've been embarrassed by the action you can get in anime, right? That is not the case for this. The animators behind this, and it's very Western. They're not trying to be a fake anime. The action in this is top notch. And for some reason, the turtles have superpowers, which is very weird. I don't understand it. And they're all like neon lights based on the color. But again, the action is like actually amazing. And I'm like, wow, this is Americans did this. I hate to say that, but like it is up there with the really good animes that we watch. I'm not gonna say it's like Attack on Titan level good, but like it is very good.
Okay.
And April is a black woman now.
Oh wow, interesting.
And Casey Jones is a young punk.
Which is okay.
We're old, I get it, but like he's looking up to the turtles, which is which is weird. He's not supposed to do that.
Yeah, it is a little weird. That is a little weird.
Now, Slow-Mo brings up a good point. The other thing that we watched on movie night last night was Prey.
I was just talking to him about that.
Predator.
Dan Trachtenberg, yeah.
It's the new. It's Disney's Predator, which is funny because it's literally about a Disney. It's like a Disney princess, right? It's like Pocahontas meets Predator is what it is.
Yeah. Supposedly it's good. I have not watched it. No, I really should.
It is. It's really good.
Okay. Well, and shout out to Dan. I met him some time ago. An acquaintance, Dan Trachtenberg. He directed this movie, and every movie he's directed before, I have really liked. Cloverfield Lane, Very good director. Very interesting ideas.
Like up there, like MCU level. I don't mean the big explosions, but I mean like the hand-to-hand Chad Stahelski kind of like fights, that kind of thing. So highly recommend it.
I gotta watch it. I'm watching it today.
The lead is gonna get on your nerves.
She's the type, yes.
But by the end, I think she earns her stripes.
Okay, good.
But the rest of the movie, you're going to be yelling at her like, "Oh, if you don't sit your ass down."
And that, ladies and gentlemen, has been
the On the Real
our On the Real Minute, which unfortunately is all we get until Mr. Everborn Saga gets this public shaming down and decides to bring the show back.
That Pixelbit G is correct. That Predator was a rookie. Arnold Schwarzenegger's Predator would have killed every one of those, but.
See, stop. We haven't seen it yet. Stop with the spoilers.
It's 300 years in the past, so maybe their Predator tech wasn't as good. So
stop with the spoilers. Moving forward. So I wanted to discuss real quick with you. See, you guys are spoiling it. See, look at this. The crowd will revolt. Not good. Anyway, wanted to discuss this with you. What do you think? What is your relationship, we shall say, with Deus Ex as a franchise?
None,
really? Not at all? You haven't played any of them?
Not even one. Well, no, that's a lie. I've definitely played it before.
Okay,
but not long enough to remember anything about it.
Okay.
But so I know for
it didn't really do much for you. Is what you're saying?
No, definitely did not.
Okay, so they're trying to bring it back, and they're trying to put it in a position that will supposedly do what Cyberpunk didn't do. And this is Eidos Montreal we're talking about here, which technically is now Embracer Group. Oh, and by the way, just to add a little more of a little seasoning to that, the dude obviously who plays him, Jensen, in the main of this, is the main voice actor in As Dusk Falls. So there you go.
There you go.
Continue.
So
and JMO Money in the chat saying Human Revolution was a masterpiece, which many consider. Like it like the stories are very cool, and it's an RPG in the realest sense. You can take certain paths, you can avoid violence, you can literally talk an enemy off the ledge to the point where you don't fight at all. And you know, it's weird
my
stuff.
My question is, because I think, you know, Cyberpunk had a horrible, terrible, no good launch, but there's so much in that game, in the world that they built, and I know it's easy to like meme the game, but everybody here that played it and beat it, I know Slow-Mo, you played it, you beat it.
Yeah, I beat it.
You beat it too. I got I don't know, 100 or almost 200 hours in there, whatever I got. 100 hours. I don't know that Eidos is going to be able to make a Cyberpunk world that is as rich as what CD Projekt Red did. I'm not saying they need to.
Okay.
But I think I don't think everything needs to be compared to Cyberpunk 2077. Sure. They don't own that.
But you know what, right? Though?
They don't
own
the Cyberpunk world.
To be honest, though,
a Cyberpunk genre, and I don't know that we have to compare them.
To be honest, if you've played any of these Deus Ex games, they actually were supposed to compare it the opposite way. Cyberpunk 2077 shouldn't compare it to Deus Ex because it did it first. Really, it did. It did it in a different way, but it was the closest comparison before Cyberpunk came and took that crown, right? And what I will tell you is, if you actually like, and even now, like I still will vouch for it. You know, you may not like it, right? It's really hard RPG. Like the systems are deep, but the graphics are beautiful, like really beautiful looking game, and you can literally talk an enemy off of fighting you. If you really want to do that, like it's interesting.
Gotta invest in those charm points, man.
Yeah, exactly. You can find like ledges and hide.
By the way, as an RPG player, I never invest in charm.
No, me neither.
Force everything.
Me neither.
Not in Mass
Sometimes
Effect.
I invest in luck.
Never.
Sometimes I invest in luck. That's about it. You know.
I need a bigger gun.
But needless to say, I'm saying like even today, like the last 2 iterations of Deus Ex, I still stand by them. Like Mankind Divided and Human Revolution are beautiful, really deep, interesting games that just didn't get the attention that they deserved. To your point, though, their systems and their complexity was very limited to the scope of the hardware they were running on. So even in PC, they're not as big in scope as the Cyberpunk 2077s of the world, right? So yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting idea. Like I feel like they originally set that tone, and then Cyberpunk almost came and dethroned them, and of course that horrible no good launch kind of marred that thing for them. But now these guys go, hey, we can, let's reestablish ourselves as the creator of this, and to do it with the Deus Ex license, I think that'd be awesome. Like to really put that Cyberpunk look on it would be awesome to me.
And this should have been an Xbox first party game.
Yeah, well, here you go again with
Activision deal.
True,
and all that jazz.
Okay, so all right,
this and the new Tomb Raider. Who did you hear about the leaked Tomb Raider script?
I did, and I heard that people are being they're asking Square is asking people to doing takedowns to make sure.
Why is Square asking that? Shouldn't that be Embracer that's asking that?
Yeah, I thought that was weird. Square was having people take that stuff down. You would think Embracer would be doing that, but Square was. Yeah.
Do you feel any kind of way about that thing in the script?
I didn't read it.
Okay, but like I'm sure you heard what people are up in arms about.
Nope, I haven't heard it. And if you want, you can spill the tea for us here. But
they say in the script that it's an older Lara that's leading a group of new Tomb Raiders, but that's not why people got upset. People got upset is because there is a lady kiss from Lara.
Okay. And that's why people are upset?
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I have no reason to be upset about that. I mean,
I don't know. So here's the thing. It's not the lady kiss doesn't bother me in the slightest, right? If you're mad that a lady kiss exists in a video game,
then you can have other issues,
right? Yeah, exactly. That's not what I'm addressing. But the idea that we're saying that is the direction they're taking Lara, to me that's strange, and I don't know that I like it. Right? You can't tell me that this thing about a character that's 20 going on 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, they're this now.
Look. It doesn't have to get all. It doesn't have to be all about that, right? But that is a view of it. But the other view could be you see this character that you've seen throughout her life for as long as you have. You've seen her at the beginning of her career. You've seen her towards the end of her career. Well, not towards the end. I guess this is where they'd show that. But you've seen her throughout many times in her life, even including movies and whatnot. But you never see her with a love interest. Right, you just never do because she's always driven. She's always there to,
I guess,
she's avenging or whatever. So because of that, someone can
let me put it this way.
But let me hold on. Because that is an established narrative, someone can easily leap to the fact of, well, maybe the reason why she's never had a love interest is because she has never had that traditional love interest situation. I don't like. It's not something that initially was built into the situation, into the character. But if they're taking that leap now, I don't see that's an issue. Like,
I'll tell you why, right? And you have to think about it. Okay. What if they did this to Batman? Would you feel some kind of way?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Sorry,
not at all.
Disagree.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I would not feel any kind of way. I would not feel any kind of way. And specifically with Batman, the reason why I wouldn't feel any kind of way is because in comics, it's already established that there are so many different kinds of canon that kind of like layer on top of each other. So if they say there's a universe in which Batman, the reason why Batman's always been a loner,
because that's not what they're doing with Tomb Raider. This is it's continuing from the trilogy that they set up. So it's the main canon, right?
Okay.
So if they just said main, like if you told me Cloud was whatever, I'd be like fine, right? Because I always suspected that of Cloud. Even though he gets all the ladies, this is a little weird. He's just a little too close to Sephiroth. I'd be totally okay with that.
Look, I thought Cloud was very much a Prince-like, but let's continue.
Right. So Cloud, I'd be okay with. This is you cannot. It's weird. Like you change that character. I don't think you need to do it. This is not to say that it shouldn't exist. It's just. This is an existing character, and changing that aspect of them doesn't really work for me.
I get it. I hear you, and I'm not for or against it per se. I will just say I would rather see where the narrative goes before I critique that aspect of it. Since it's a testy kind of, it could potentially bring out the pitchforks, right? And in most cases, when it brings out the pitchforks, and then you actually see the content itself, you go, oh, that's what you guys were complaining about, and it's like nothing. So I don't want to take a stance on it right now where it's just potentially just being people.
There was a lot with Last of Us where people thought it was going to be all this stuff, and then it wasn't really the same point. So
exactly that. That's the reason what you're describing right there. That is why I'm not taking a stance right now, because they made that so crazy and it blew up all over the place. And then the game came out, you played it, and I was like, really? This is why you guys are upset? Highly unnecessary.
Yeah, but again, I just need to clarify. I don't care that it's in the game. I do care that you're going to take an existing character and change something like that. It doesn't work for me. But everybody can feel how they feel. It's not the end of the world. It is what it is. I still play the game.
No.
But
I
it's really like, I don't know. I don't like it. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Before I get canceled, that's all I say. I don't like it.
Do not cancel Everborn Saga. He's just a man. Anyway. But okay. So let us move forward. And Victor Alistine, I see your message there. If we're on the Square Enix topic, why not discuss their financial report and them selling? I'm sorry?
We're waiting for backup.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that. I think we'll talk about that. We're building up to it. We'll see where we go on there. But I do want to talk about the selling and all of that. We will get to all of that, right? Because this show is in fact talking about delays and scandals, and I think that's the biggest scandal of the week, of the last 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. But let's build up to it. But again, since we missed so much during the last couple of weeks, I figured we just kind of a smattering of news stories that kind of caught my eye. And the next one
did you see Joanna Duck's last comment?
What do you say? Oh boy. Everborn Saga should have been canceled the day he said his thoughts about Sonic were good. Oh man, bro, you're going too far, man. When Sonic comes out and it's actually good, you will be eating crow.
Nobody will. You guys better hope it's not good, because you will never hear the ending from me.
All right. Have you heard all of the ramblings and rumblings about like Rockstar and GTA 6?
I think this is stupid. I'm not like the frat boy culture or whatever. That is what it is. It's all over the industries, probably at Microsoft too. Your favorite game publisher or developer, it probably happens there, because it happens all over America, not just and it's not limited to the video game industry. We know that it sucks. Call it out when it happens. Get rid of the people who are still doing that nonsense and whatever. I'm not huge on prosecuting the past, right? If situations have been addressed, I think it's better to move on. But anybody's still doing nonsense, you got to get rid of them. No excuses. That being said, this whole GTA 6, there's going to be also a female character. How dare they, right?
Well, it's not just that. It's not just that. People, just so you understand, like, and let me set this up, like, because those, please, the stories out there, you can completely read it for yourself. It's a lot of good detail. I think you should do so. It seems like Take-Two has been looking out into and this is me, like, using having read the story, kind of putting the two and two together in my head. So this is solely my opinion on this, but based on what I'm reading here, it seems that Take-Two has looked into the industry right now, seen the Me Too movement, seen the slow-moving disaster train coming for everybody, and they decided that after onesie twosies of their own scandals, that they were going to kind of take the leadership role and start cleaning things up. Okay, and there are good things to that, and there are a lot of good things about that.
Isn't that what you want?
Exactly. It's exactly what you want. This is great. This should be, and that's why I think this story is quite interesting, because this should be lauded, right? They're squashing the crunch. They're squashing the crunch culture in that company. They're stopping the frat boy culture in that company. All stuff that they're being proactive about without being necessarily having to be Activision Blizzard called to the carpet about it. They're doing that now. Let me ask you a
question though. Yeah. How much of the frat boy DNA kind of goes into the storytelling in GTA as a whole? If you try to turn all that down and
this is the interesting. See, you're putting the cart before the horse. But we're getting there. That's where we're going. Good job,
GTA
sir.
lose its soul? So
this is where we were talking. This is why we're like. This is.
By the way, I want to be clear though. Mm-hmm. You could have the lead like what they're doing. I just want to talk about the lead character thing for 1 second.
Yeah.
There. You can choose a male or a female lead character. Right.
Instead of three characters, as in GTA 5, there will be 2 characters and one will be a female.
Right. People upset about that. Very stupid. Yes, they could only let you choose one character, and it could be a female, and she could kiss Lara Croft. Wouldn't bother me.
I care not. Yeah, shut your mouth. Yeah.
But I am worried about them trying to make the game less offensive to
no. Let's get there. Hold on. Let me spill that part of it. So, in addition to all of the perks they're now handing to their employees, they're also not mandating, but there's been a note that has been passed down to them saying, "Let us try to no longer punch down."
No,
that's that.
No, they should punch down.
And secondly, right, the other questions within the organization have popped up, as in, who are you going to satire? Where's the satire coming from here? You really can't skewer America anymore. It's kind of a satire of itself as it is today anyway. So where are you pulling your material from? You know what I'm saying? All that, and they're going to try to be a bit more cognizant of other cultures. So it brings up, and this is why I thought this is interesting. This is why I wanted to have a conversation with you specifically about it, because while these good things are happening and this is wonderful, it seems like its side effect may be a less potent GTA than we have been used to. How do you feel about that?
Well, full disclosure, the last GTA I played was GTA 4.
Oh, yes. There you go. Yes. He has not played GTA 5. Yes.
Nico's the best.
Yes. Which is terrible. Oh, come on. You need to do yourself a favor and play 5. What's wrong with you, man?
I hear you. So,
play it on the Steam Deck.
You have to take what I'm saying with a grain of salt.
Yep.
Because, I don't want to be one of those people talking about a game I haven't played. I haven't played GTA 5.
Yes,
now, that being said, I think what makes GTA, what has made it stick, is I don't know if authenticity is the right word, but it feels and always has felt, especially with 4, again, last one that I played, it
made New York look all gray and gross. Like, get out of here with that for.
But it still you have a sense of place. You have it feels real. You have interesting characters, and if you want to honor cultures, that's fine. But if you're worried about not insulting people and shit, like if you want to honor cultures, you should be able to go into a little Italy and a little Jamaica and or a Pakistani part of town, and they really capture the culture.
Yep.
But still preserve maybe the racism in between each culture, right?
The equal opportunity racism.
Right?
That's the thing. That's the thing. It needs to be equal opportunity racism. If you
I want to go there and see that the Pakistanis don't like the Indians, right?
True. Of course.
Right? I want the Indians to not like the Puerto Ricans.
That's right.
You capture the culture, and that's fine. But don't give me this. We're all fucking holding hands, and I don't want to offend you. And everybody's
one of those today. One of those.
Starbucks.
Just one. One of those. PG-13, sir. One. Anyway. Shout out to Lucius Augustus. Welcome here. Welcome, good sir. He said he understands why I don't like 4, but man, he loved it. Let me be clear. I don't hate 4. But I think 4 was good, whereas 5, hate it or love it, is peak GTA. It is like peak, like before 5, peak GTA was 3. People used to, GTA 3 changed the game, like literally changed the game. There have been more after that, but everyone looks at GTA 3 as a watermark, a watershed moment in gaming, right? GTA 3. 5 superseded that. You know what I'm saying? Even though 4 was good, and I'm not saying it wasn't, hey, Nico, my cousin. Yes, I remember it fondly, right? But 5 replaced 3 as a watershed moment in gaming. That's the reason why I'm like, if you played 4 and you haven't played 5, come on now. 5 really did it. Like, yeah, I understand the subject matter. I understand that a lot of the content was so tongue-in-cheek that it kind of turned a lot of people off. People hated Trevor, I get all of that. And those are all valid criticisms in my opinion. But like to the point where some people can walk around LA because they've just played that game so much to that they know the topology very well. I mean, it's shortened LA, but where they have been very faithful to the source material, they were so detailed, and the things you can do in that world. People have been making GTA 5 VR like motorbiking in the Outback videos and stuff in VR, using mods, turning it into VR when it's not a VR game. You can get yourself lost in that game forever without ever touching the online component or even the campaign. So it really is a watershed moment in gaming. That game has been. That's why I'm like, you gotta play 5. You just have to play at least half of it. Come on, Everborn, put it on your Steam Deck. Play at least half of it. Epic gave it away for free. Like, come on now. Anyway,
not gonna happen. But listen, but this is ultimately the point. You can respect cultures, right? But I don't want to hear this. I don't want to offend people, right? Like, and the way to do that, you can still have all your jokes there, but you can have part of towns where you actually honor those people.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying, and
that goes that equal opportunity racism.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
right?
I get it. I get that. Yes,
right.
Yes.
As long as we're not exalting one group of people over the other, all of that other stuff is fair game. Yes, and that's what I would like to see in a GTA game.
I'm in wholehearted agreement with you on that one. That is why I'm like equal opportunity racism. You don't have to, one over another. That's when we get into that ridiculous area where we just kind of a pox on both their houses. But if you got that equal up, because it's always funny that way, right? And we all see that in the environment. And GTA was really good at doing that up until now. You can do that without necessarily. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Lucius Augustus. He says everybody can get it. That's right, and everybody should get it. So that's good. So I hope that I'm okay with modernizing it. I'm okay with
I just don't want it to turn into Saints Row where everybody has like purple hair and we're doing all of that stuff. Like that's not
Saints Row has always been its own thing, and that's worked for them. Right?
I just don't I don't need it to be like, I don't know.
I'm okay with them not making the brunt of every joke some chick. I'm okay with that, right? But keep the essence of GTA what it was. The tongue-in-cheek, hard R narrative of it still needs to be there. It's the modern day. You know, you can still do that in the modern day without picking like.
Well, in the modern day, Beyonce has to remove lyrics because it offended a group, right? Like, this is where we are, and I don't want that for GTA.
I understand, and unfortunately, some of that will happen because that's the nature of the beast. You know, like it's just I don't know. Anyway, let us move forward. Let us move forward because we do have some more to talk about here. Let's talk about some delays. Did you or did you not feel bad when you heard that Warhammer 4K Dark Tide?
Can I tell you that I literally laughed out loud when I heard this happen?
Why?
Because it is hilarious. Every one of Xbox's deals, they just can't get right in 2022. Right? Yeah. Every deal they had, through the cracks. Yep. At this point, all you can do at it is laugh. Hilarious.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it? It's like they are incapable of closing. Even when you think they got it all together, the universe has to come out and just like kick them in the teeth, right? Kick him in the teeth. And let me be clear here. Remember, if those who've been watching this show for a time now know that back in the day, every time that people would started giving smoke to developer what's Matt Booty doing or management issues or whatever, I said wait till the show. Wait till the show comes out. Wait till you know.
And I told you nothing was coming.
And then the show came and went, and we now know what we know. And it's like, okay, I don't want to be too loud with my criticism because let me be honest, I think like I said, I thought they were being overly confident. Maybe they had a reason to, maybe they didn't. Now I'm under the impression that they didn't have reason to be overly confident, and it was a bonehead move on their part, right? Your Everborn Saga, your conspiracy theory notwithstanding, you could be right, but we're going to live in a world where that's not a factor in the equation, right? They seemed, the way they came out, they seemed overly confident, and now having seen what they had to offer, I believe they were overly confident, right? So because of that, you know, then it becomes, all right, plan B, what you got? I don't want to be overly critical, but
looks great, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's an amazing looking game, bro. Seriously, it's a blow. It really is a blow. You know, it seems that the universe keeps wanting to point out that they are incapable of crisis management because they make a plan A, it fails. Then they got some plan Bs and they fail. And now there's more plan Cs that are failing. Like it's just constantly happening. It's almost like the universe just says, we're going to keep doing this until you guys have an earnest conversation about holding the booty to task. I'm sorry.
Well, no, hold on a minute. So hold on a minute.
Even though this has nothing to do with the booty, I understand. This is not his black eye. I am not saying that. Continue.
So the thing is, what we asked for is, hey, Redfall, Starfield not coming out, have backups, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so the backups are was this, right? It's High on Life. Let's see if that actually happens.
We'll see,
right?
Yep.
Stalker 2, we should have been got that, right?
There you go. Yeah.
But that world
Atomic Heart,
happened,
which we're still waiting on. Yeah,
that's not coming out this year.
Who knows?
I'm just waiting on the announcement. It's not coming out this year. I'm telling you. So again, it like, what are they gonna do? Right?
Yeah,
it just is crazy. What it is.
It's just crazy. Look, but I guess my point.
We wanted them to have backup plans. They did have. Backup plans.
Listen, Kate.
It just all fell through.
I guess my point that I'm making is this specifically is not their fault, right? And inherently, delays are not their fault.
I'm not saying their fault.
No, Stalker's not their fault. Of course not. I am in no way, shape, or form insinuating that it is their fault. It is not their fault. I'm not saying that at all, right? What I am saying is, it's like these situations test your mettle as a planner, right?
Well,
that's what these situations. Let me finish. That's what these situations do, and it seems like there are already questions raised about the mettle testing of their people in positions, and more as more of this starts coming up, it's forcing that conversation to be had, because then you got this and it falls apart, then you got that and it falls apart, then you got, it's just like, bro, y'all just can't win. Like, what's going on? Like, we can't move forward and just kind of move on and talk about something else. It always comes back to y'all and y'all delays and what other plan you got for us. You know what I'm saying?
Let's put it this way. In the RPG that is the gaming industry.
Yes, sir. Yeah, indeed.
Sony invested in Charm and Luck.
Yes,
and Microsoft
they
invested in Magic and Attack Power.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
But they also didn't invest in agility.
No. So every time they seem to tickle a step, they tumble and bumble all over the place.
And now they have to charge up. But when they hit you, it's going to be a one-hit quitter.
They got you.
Right? So the fact is, this now makes 2023 even more stacked. Because now, in 2023, we've got Warhammer 40K.
Yep.
We've got Starfield. We've got Redfall. We've got Diablo 4. We've got Forza Motorsport.
See, my question to you on that, though, is, are they going to allow all those to release like that?
Yeah, they are.
That'd be too stacked.
You know why? Because there's so much other things in the pipeline.
So you're telling me that you're going to have a year where a game won't even have a month to breathe and then another game will be in there?
That's exactly what I'm telling you, yes. Right? 1 month per game. And I suspect Warhammer is going to be out in January. So you'll have a game for January.
You'll put a month and another month.
Exactly.
Damn.
And these games are going to come out up until June. And in June, we'll get the announcement for the next ones. Right? That's it. So
okay.
It's just 2022 is the worst year in Xbox first party history.
But then you don't foresee after that happens in 2022, then there's 2023 or 2024 when there's another drought because all of them are back in the lab again. Like, what about strategic placement?
No, because by 2024, all of this other stuff will be right out in the pipeline, right?
We hope so. This is what I mean by emergency planning. Maybe you'll hold one or two back. Nintendo does that all the time.
No,
seriously, they do. There are games that are fully complete that literally sit on the shelf because they know they need emergency break glass game. Come on now.
Listen, Matt Booty told you he has too many games. He didn't tell you none of them were coming out this year.
Let us not call the booty the carpet, okay? I'm sorry.
So
come on now.
I do think, because you have to understand, there's so many things that are so many irons in the fire that you can't tell me Avowed and Hellblade aren't going to be ready by 2024. You can't. I won't believe you. You can say it. I won't believe you. You know what I'm saying?
Just like you won't believe them when they say it is coming, because last time they said write it in ink and then it didn't come.
Okay, we'll see. And again, we can talk all we want about Microsoft or Xbox and shipping things. You know who does know how to ship?
Who?
Activision Blizzard.
True.
They will be shipping.
They don't know how to be humans, but they know how to ship.
That's fine.
That's good. That's true.
You want to make an omelet, you got to break a few eggs.
Everybody got their issues. It is what it is.
The thing is, you have to understand that once they are in the fold, all this conversation is over. Because wherever Xbox Game Studios is slowed down, Activision will be there to pick up the slack. And by the time Activision does it, and there's never been a year where Activision didn't have something.
Yeah,
right?
They are very meticulous in their release schedules. That's for sure.
And hopefully that will rub off on the rest of Xbox. And then
that's the hope.
By the time they put their stuff out, Microsoft will be ready again. If Microsoft does not be ready again, then Bethesda will be ready, right? So just it sucks right now. I get it. There's no excuse for it. It's trash. But 2023, baby.
And I'm sorry, I always have to take a moment and thank some of our members in the chat here saying that I'm using Opera. I'm a man of culture. Thank you very much. You know what I'm doing? I'm a one man band trying to counteract the dominance of Chrome. But yeah, I'm not going to win that battle. It is what it is. Anyway, let us move forward real quick. We do have a few more little dribs and drabs that I want to talk about, and I want to get your opinion on this scandal stuff that happened. The former boss of Eidos Montreal, the same group that's trying to bring back Deus Ex, the one that's now sold to Embracer Group. The former founder saying that this whole Square Enix Western Studios thing is a slow moving train wreck.
I don't understand. Explain. What's the quote?
Well, it's not even a quote necessarily. This is him being interviewed, and again, I will put the stuff in the show notes. It's an extensive read. The actual extended one is in GameIndustry.biz. You can read the whole thing for yourself. It's pretty extended, but the long and short of it is he's basically like, you could call him disgruntled, maybe, because he left a while ago from the company and he started his own thing now. But GamesIndustry.biz interviewed him.
They interviewed him live from the salt mines, is what you're saying.
Well, no. Remember, he's left the company. He left in 2013, so he spent enough time away where the salt has turned into, okay, I'm doing my own thing. I'm making my own money. The salt has it is now on my resume as the good old days. That's where he is now. And GamesIndustry.biz interviewed the man. And he basically he's like watching Boomstick show and saying, "Yep, he's right. Like, there's a lot of that happening in this article. Oh, and of course, as I said to our audience, we were going to have a guest on today because there's an interesting conversation that I want to have, and that'll be our main topic of conversation. And I wanted him on here for this, so I appreciate him coming in. My buddy, you've seen him on this show before. Old game dev himself, Mr. Mashano Loon. Good day, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Your way.
You do that. You do that. What's going on, man? How's it going?
What's happening?
Thank you. We're chatting on some old news, some interesting news tidbits that we missed during the week that we were away. While you're here, you can give us some of your thoughts on it. This is actually really interesting. Someone like you, right, who had colleagues working at a studio. This one actually was a co-founder of, and this is Eidos Montreal, right? He now left the studio. He 2013 left on whatever terms he left. All that is water under the bridge now. It's just a resume. It's a resume tidbit at this point. And now GamesIndustry.biz interviewed him and asked him about, hey, what do you think of this whole thing with Square Enix and them selling it to Embracer Group? And he spilled all the tea, like just all the tea. He's just like, yup, it looks like Embracer. It looks like Square Enix. He said Square Enix would never put a bad word on any of their games except for all the Western Studios games. They always left a single note about, oh yeah, they didn't meet expectations, to the point where they were systematically like making their Western studios feel uneasy. They'd go to I'm paraphrasing, of course, but they'd go to like one of their reports for the year or whatever, and every studio would have some deliverables to provide, right? Oh, you're responsible for this, you're responsible for that, maybe a dollar amount based on a game you're creating or something like that. Their studio, Eidos Montreal, for instance, wouldn't have any deliverables outstanding for them for that report year. But then it'd be like, oh yeah, you guys are under budget, so you're no longer getting your funding for this game or for that game, even though you weren't responsible for delivering anything for this calendar year. You weren't responsible for it. You weren't supposed to deliver it, but yeah, y'all are under budget, so you're not getting the game you want. Stuff like that would happen to them all the time. So basically, he's just like, yeah, it's a slow moving train wreck. they were gonna. What does he say? He's pretty sure. He's pretty convinced that Square Enix is thinning themselves to be bought by Sony. That is what he's convinced about, right? So I guess my question to you is, what would drive a man to just like slander his ex-boss in public like this in the gaming industry?
If this is in public, you can imagine what it was like behind closed doors.
That's right.
So probably why he's not there anymore. Probably
have you heard any of this Square Enix stuff? You know, them selling all of their Western studios and Sony and all of this.
I mean, you hear somebody wants to buy somebody. You guys hear it. I hear it from people that are working in the business, and you guys hear it from people that are working in the business. So, you know, at one point I was at King where they made Candy Crush Saga, and the strongest rumor ever was Apple's buying us within weeks. Apple's buying us with this. They're having meetings with Apple, and then they would be like, "Yeah, we are actually talking with Apple. Oh my God, we're being sold to Apple. This is actually really happening." But they were talking to Apple, but they weren't talking to Apple about selling. They were talking to Apple about, can we bring Candy Crush Saga to, I don't know, Apple TV or whatever. Is that a thing? Is there a road forward for games like that? And you know, and, oh my God, this is happening. People are like starting to apply for other jobs, and so it was all like this is one of those. This is like high school. This is billion dollar high school.
True. Yeah, absolutely.
She said.
She's. So I don't know. Hey, hey, what's up? Where are you going to LA? Oh yeah, we're just having a chat with Apple. I've met with Apple. You know, I could have told you guys, hey, I'm chatting with Apple next week. That could have been like enough for you guys. Like, maybe there's something happening with King. Even if you guys are not spreading a rumor, even if you just mention, oh yeah, I know that people at King talk to Apple. That's no problem. That's public. That could be public knowledge. Boom. A week later, strong rumor: King's being sold to Apple.
So I want to just say this here, and I've said this to Kay a bunch of times. My general rule of thumb is that you can basically take it to the bank that if we're talking about an acquisition, it was either never going to happen or the talks already fell through, because we would not hear about it. Right? There's you don't hear about people talking about those things. When they happen, you announce it right away before it hits the news wire. So when we learned about Activision, nobody saw it coming. When we learned about Bethesda, absolutely, nobody saw it coming. When we learned about Bungie, nobody saw it coming. It's going to hit you on any given Monday. They're just going to announce it because they have to announce it right away. There are regulatory reasons behind this and all those things. So
yeah, a lot of legal reasons. I mean, I'll give you an example. I joined, you know, as Casey knows, one of the reasons I even got into games and making games was because I loved Gears of War, played a bunch of Gears of War multiplayer back on 360, and saw the making of Gears of War, and I was like, what? People can make games? I want to make games. So fast forward from that moment, let's say like 6 years, and I joined Epic Games. My plan is obviously to work on the next Gears of War, right? I want to work on this next Gears of War. This is my plan. I'm in there for a week. Everybody kind of like gets rushed into this meeting room out of nowhere. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. You know, I'm brand new here. I'm like a newbie. And, at a studio, Sebastian, he's like, hey, listen, this is going to, literally, to prove Everboard's point, this is going to hit the news in 1 hour. We are selling the Gears of War IP. Everybody in the room is like, what the? Yep. I'm like, fuck this job. Okay, I'm here for.
Now, you know what? It's interesting you give me this tidbit, because then it leads me to my quick question. So, did you ever speak to the people who actually made the PlayStation build of Gears of War? Because that exists, and it never saw the light of day. It eventually ended up on YouTube. There's a PlayStation version, PS3 version of Gears of War 1 that was never released because it was purchased by Microsoft. But it exists. So someone on y'all team was making that. And as soon as that news hit the wire, he was like, no.
It's like, come on, man, this is my moment.
That's right.
I think I mean, this is now common knowledge after the fact, but Evermore's totally right. If it's serious, there's a Facebook status change, and Lisa's now dating Duncan. If it's just a rumor, maybe they're talking. Maybe, probably.
If it's a rumor, it'll be classified under it's complicated.
Yeah, it's complicated. Yeah, it's complicated. So right. And then literally, I'm not making it up. Kotaku, boom, 1 hour later. So another example of this is was working at Electronic Arts. There's this rumor Electronic Arts is laying off 1,000 people. It appears on Kotaku. Everybody, just to show you how far these companies will go to like toe the line and stick to their story. Everybody in the company gets an email. There's a false article on Kotaku talking about layoffs. This is absolutely not true. Fast forward, not 3 weeks later, 1,000 people get fired. That's when they want to always control the narrative. So everyone, you couldn't be more right. Even when it's a fact, like somebody at HR had coffee with somebody who had coffee with somebody, and they told somebody at Kotaku, and that somebody at Kotaku was like, "Hey, this is messed up. There's firing 1,000 people, and they didn't not even telling them." And then we got an official email, and I remember everybody being like, "Oh, it's much more realistic that they actually fire us." And everybody got back to work.
That's messed up, man. Absolutely.
And then like 3 weeks later, you're like, "Where the hell's Frank? Oh, you didn't hear Frank got let go? What do you mean?
Out of that 1,000 people that they fired?" That's right.
Oh yeah, they had, and then you're having a chat with someone like, "Oh yeah, they're letting go for 1,000 people." You mean the 1,000 of Kotaku? Or a new 1,000? No, this is different, they would say.
This is why anytime anybody goes, "Oh yeah, those rumors are not true because they've come out and they've vehemently denied it," I'm like, shut your mouth. Like, get out of here with all of that. Their denials mean nothing. Absolutely.
Would you even deny it if there was no truth to it?
The other thing to consider is that every one of these large companies have an M&A division, and they're always talking to everybody about these things. So just the fact that talks are happening it doesn't mean a lot, right?
Yeah.
And when it's material, you'll know. So we can speculate and hope. I hope Microsoft buys Sega, right? It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And just because they have some kind of technology partnership doesn't mean that it's going to happen.
Mean anything. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, when you're at something like Gamescom, or G-Star in South Korea, or E3 or whatever, this is like a super small industry. It's like probably what you guys have. You guys are part of a podcasting and content creator community. You might run into someone who makes podcasts that you've never even met, but you've checked their podcast, or they've watched your podcast, or it's somebody from the one of the guys in the chat that you run into. It's also part of the community, and it's just humans being humans. People are going to talk. I've been at Sony parties. You're talking to people, and then what do you do? Oh, I'm with Ubisoft. I'm with Square Enix. Oh, okay. And humans are just going to be humans. Now, the first time you meet them, obviously they're not going to tell you, "Hey, we're working on a nude." But the third time,
maybe they will.
the tenth drink. The 10th drink. All of a sudden, because we know what it is with these studios. They're like drinks and food and DJ. The 10th drink, and you've seen these dudes at like 2 shows or 3 shows. Then it's like, "Hey, listen, something big's about to happen." I think that would be the closest you can get to potentially a reliable source. But even that could be off because.
And for the record, I have known this man for longer than most friends in my lifetime. He shares nothing with me. Absolutely nothing. To the point where I share information with him and he goes, "Really?" But this man is going to all those meetings, all those and he calls me and tells me later, "Yo, you can't believe where I went." I'm not salty at all. Continue there, man.
I'm just saying these people are unreliable.
Yeah. Another thing is, even if you have a reliable source, until the ink is signed, there is no
nothing's
deal.
Done until it's done.
For sure. The deal could fall apart in the last moments. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
The deal could fall apart after it's announced. Regulatory bodies could be like, "Yeah, I'm not comfortable with this."
Yep.
And then you have like Microsoft and Bethesda looking like a bunch of bozos. Let's be real.
Oh.
That will never happen because there's just too much money involved.
If that were to happen, Microsoft there'd be a few $1 billion
$3 billion in their pocket. But as I've said, the palms have already been
greased.
Yeah, the palms have been greased.
All of this dog and pony show, maybe there's a pun intended there. All of that, they're just going through the motions, right? They're just like, yeah, we have to put on this show. We have to do this thing. Oh, yeah, we don't like big tech buying stuff. Yay. Microsoft's like, okay, say what you need to say. We'll send you the paperwork.
So to get back to what Victor Alistine had asked us, there is this report, basically a financial report that from Square Enix saying that they're looking to basically lean themselves up. Long story short, we're trying to get right for the summer, as it were.
That's the old Electronic Arts 2008 playbook where they had. Remember when Electronic Arts had like 1 million titles, and then they said less is more. I don't even know if they said that externally, but they had a lot of meetings internally. Less is more. We're only gonna do FIFA, NHL, Madden, Need for Speed, and whatever, and Battlefield or something. You know, they had like 8 games, and Square Enix, I think, is still one of those companies, and we're going to get to Japanese culture and Japanese mindset later, which is why Sony. Okay, we'll get into that later. You know, they still started making games out of that respect and art and love for making games. You remember back in the day on like, I don't know, PlayStation 3, they'd have a trailer for something, and you'd be like, or a cutscene, and you'd be like, this is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. This hair is real. They were light years ahead of us in the West. And that's kind of this is just legacy. I think they're also realizing like, hey, if we want to run a business, it needs to make dollars and cents, and
sure,
it makes all the sense in the world to me. I don't have any facts, but it makes all the sense to me. You know, they could pick a few franchises, say less is more, sell off everything to whoever.
Yeah,
Epic, whoever.
It's just the fire sale price that was so surprising, right? Selling it off, okay, we get that.
Yeah, but I was like, what?
That was nuts to me.
I had a shot. I could have owned one of these IPs if I put my money with Everborn.
We could have pulled some records, right? Up some resources.
Like the Gaming Circle podcast buys whatever IP for. This is like a.
So I'm saying, like, we could put some of these things on layaway. You know what I'm saying?
You know, if anybody had a shot, you should have let us know.
I got a new Xbox Series X in a box. If you want, lower the price.
You know what?
We still didn't open it.
We're not doing this today.
You know what? We are gonna do this today. We're gonna continue doing this, just like we shamed Everborn about the damn On the Real Minute. We will continue. And for those who don't know, it's coming.
I need a screen.
You need a screen.
I got 3 screens. I got 3 screens, but I needed, dude. I was writing you like, dude, what is the best screen I can buy that I can afford?
Stop it. And I sent you a bunch of good recommendations. Needless to say, you know what? This is all. This story is all under the place of. Yeah, duh. We see this happening from a mile away, right?
Yeah.
They have been trying to lean themselves up, sell to potentially Sony. Look, some of the and obviously for those who don't know who Dave Gibson is, you know, he basically is a senior analyst, Microsoft. You know, he knows what he's talking about when he says what he says, right? And he can expect that Sony is interested. I honestly, obviously, Tencent's interested, but Sony is interested, and most likely it's Sony that they're trying to go for. So
I don't know if it's Sony they're trying to go for, because what it sounds like they're talking about is Tencent's business model. We want to sell pieces of our studios, and that's exactly what Tencent does. They just say, "Hey, we're not going to buy all of you, but we'll get a portion of it."
Sony would let Tencent come and swoop these guys up? The relationship that they have with
here's
them?
an Everborn conspiracy theory.
Here we go.
What if they're doing this to force Sony's hand? Maybe Sony's like, listen, we're comfortable with you guys being a partner because you don't make games for the competition anyway, right? So we don't need to buy you. Maybe what we want to buy is something like a Capcom or a CD Projekt Red or whatever, right? But Square sees that Sony's eyeballing some other ladies in town, and they're like, hold on a minute. Hold on now. Let me go get you jealous and maybe you'll spill some money my way. Tea and crumpets with your friend.
Crumpets. Oh boy.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. No. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. The ink isn't dry, so all of this is speculation, but it really looks like it's heading in that direction. Anybody have any rebuttals to that? Like, this really looks like 6 months, a year from now, we'll be having a different conversation.
I think one whole topic for your show, for you guys' show, is so when Microsoft buys Bethesda, everybody loses their mind. What will happen when Sony buys fill in the blank? Will everybody be like
nothing?
That's
no.
You know what? And I've spoken about this on many occasions, and I'll say this to you guys now: they'll do nothing because both companies have been training you all to expect how to react when they do what they inevitably will do. Sony has been training you consistently to expect, hey, we buy them, they're ours now. So every time Bungie comes out and goes, no, we're still for the street, so to speak, you're surprised at that. You would have assumed that, oh, come on now, Destiny 2 is exclusive because Sony has been training you to expect that. Just like they've been training you $70 asshole tax. I'm sorry, that's mine. That's my one. You know what I'm saying? They've been training you, right? And of course, Microsoft, as magnanimous to a fault as they can be sometimes, have been training you the opposite way. It could be this way. It could be that way. Who knows? You know, in the beginning, it was a question mark for Bethesda. And now we know that, yeah, they still have some irons in the fire as far as contractual obligations. But after that's done, maybe it's not that way, right? So I don't blame the companies for doing what they do. They've trained y'all to expect certain things. It's up to us to break that training. It's up to us to expect more or less from these people. You know, I expect Microsoft to be a bit more straight in their message, right? And I expect Sony to kind of ease up a little bit. Like, obviously it's business and they will do what they will do, right? But yeah, when this happens, inevitably, nobody's going to cry. Nobody's going to say anything. No, they basically are third-party exclusive right now anyway.
Again, this is the problem that I think people are getting a little too comfortable saying Sony is going to buy Square.
Okay.
I think they might not buy them. Right. Okay. And I think but I do think that they will buy a publisher, and it will be somebody that hurts, and there will be tears. I accept tears from wherever they come from.
I see what's going on here, Everborn. You're basically bracing yourself for the day when they say they've bought Sega because Atlas has to stay home. Persona 6 exclusive day one. That's what you're bracing yourself for.
I want it to be Capcom because then that means they didn't get Sega, which would still leave Sega on the table.
So that means Street Fighter is locked behind PlayStation forever. That's cool.
Cool. But I don't know that will be the case. I just want to see the meltdown if it is Capcom. Because
so you now live in a world where you think that Capcom will be bought by Sonic.
No, because I don't know that Capcom wants to be sold. But for the sake of the drama, I want it to be Capcom.
You want for the sake of the tears. I understand.
This guy is sitting there eating popcorn while entire corporations get decimated.
This is all hilarious to me. Now,
so let's.
I will be the one crying if they get Sega. I'll just
you go on crying. I will sit here and turn it on. I'll turn on the show and basically let you go off for as long as you need to, and I'll just be here with my popcorn because that'll be entertainment beyond compare.
This is not fair.
I'm looking forward to that.
Somebody get Joe Biden on the phone.
Okay. Let's. I want to have a serious conversation with you two about a certain topic, but before we get there, let's at least talk about this real quick, okay? Because I want to have that other conversation that you and we were talking about there, Marciano. I want to talk about that before we end the show. But have you heard this news?
But Sony is worried Xbox owning Call of Duty will damage.
So basically, long story short, every regulatory body asks folks, other companies in the community to comment on this potential buyout, right? What do you think, Square Enix? What do you think, Ubisoft? What do you think of this potential ABK deal? It's been done from region to region to region, but specifically in Brazil, they always end up, as they have laws for public privacy, all that stuff, they always make those details public. So this stuff has happened in America where they've asked people for other companies for the thoughts on ABK deal and all that. But none of that has been shared with the public. Brazil shared it with the public. Every other company was like, oh, yeah, we'll be fine. Yeah. The question basically being, will Microsoft buying ABK pose an unfair advantage in the market? Can they not be competed against? All of them are like, oh, yeah, it's fine. Come on now. Call of Duty, as good as it is, it's just another game. There are others who can compete with it. It is what it is. Ubisoft, all these other companies. Then Sony, there's no company capable of creating a game as powerful or as brand defining as Call of Duty. Look at them. They own so much of the market already. They started Game Pass. They own 79% of the entire market. They have so much resources. If you allow them to buy this thing, and this is a dramatization, of course, I
don't even think it's that much of a dramatization.
This is literally what they're saying in this report.
This seems like a legit reading of the text. I don't know if you're
that's what that is.
I'm not sure it's that dramatic. I think this is.
I'm just using a dramatic twinge to it, but still, that's what they said. Basically, hey, even the best developers in the world, and they named a few, right? If you ask them to make a competitor, they couldn't compete with a Call of Duty. Now, I think they said that in the mindset of entrenched interests. Call of Duty has become such a ritual that even if you present a game that's better than Call of Duty, you can't get the Call of Dutyers to peel themselves away from Call of Duty-ing. You understand what I'm saying? It's kind of become what they love. It's until Call of Duty comes out and it's completely different than what they know and love, I think you'll get them to Call of Duty for a long time. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where Sony might be coming with that stuff.
So Gabe, aka Cali Kid 619 is
yes, sir. What's going on, Gabe?
Yeah, is Sony wrong for what they said about Microsoft Activision COD and how that will affect the game market? I mean, K Everborn, you could play it both ways depending on whose lawyer you are. If you are Sony's lawyer, you can say, look at the numbers. Look at the potential damage that could do to what they're really saying is our business. Will damage PS5 sales. But on the other hand, you will have a lawyer on Microsoft who says, yeah, but everybody used to be on MySpace. Now everybody's on Facebook. Everybody used to be on this, and everybody was playing.
If you're a Microsoft lawyer, they can easily say, I get that. Why is it that we haven't seen a Final Fantasy remake or any of the Final Fantasies on our platform forever? Because you have made sure that doesn't happen, right? Yeah. So yes, what they're saying is true. That is an inevitability, but just like you money hatting for years now, it's business. It's what happens.
Yeah,
we paid the money,
and they can point at
it's business.
Anything that Sony's ever bought
that's right.
Microsoft fans can play. What if that game becomes the most popular game ever, and we lose all our players? That could potentially happen, and so I don't see. Yeah. It's weird. It's tactical, like
it's exactly what that is. It's a tactical move that they're making. Yeah. I am surprised that people saw this and went, "Oh my God, they're so weak. They're seeming so. They're being strategic here."
I have a different.
Please go ahead, Everborn. Yes,
some enjoy. It's the same, but I believe that if you look at the context of what Sony's responses were, it screams to me that they are worried about Microsoft taking Call of Duty exclusive, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because making the argument that
100%.
Because here's the thing. Microsoft has said the game is going to stay multi-plat, right? Yep. They said we were using Minecraft as a guide here. And I know they're hamming it up because they want to get the deal through. But if you're using Minecraft as a guide, Sony, you're not losing access to the game.
Yep.
So the idea that you're saying all of this for a game that will still be on
after
your
Microsoft
platform,
has said that, yes.
Right? It doesn't track. Unless you're saying, boo-hoo, the industry will never be the same once my marketing deal expires with Call of Duty.
No,
that's not what they're saying, because that's not
what they're saying. What they're saying literally.
Go ahead. So if they are behind the scenes concerned that after their marketing deal is over, Microsoft will take its ball that is Call of Duty and go home, then this would make sense. But is that what they believe? And is that something behind the scenes that they that Microsoft has indicated? Right? Because there's no other explanation.
Well, no, but listen. It's because the arguments that we, and by we I mean the community, has been having about Call of Duty exclusivity, they have been having the same arguments. It's exactly why. Because as much as Microsoft has spoken about it, and they've been as clear as they have been about it, right? It seems that, and exactly to your point, based on how Sony is still fighting that fight, it seems that they see that there's a huge gap in what they can do. How Microsoft can wiggle their way out of that if they wanted to without getting in trouble, right? And when this was asked to me, and shout out to Risk It for the Biscuit and the Xbox Infinite podcast crew, they had me on last night, and he asked me a similar question, and I said that to them as well. It looks like they can't see beyond themselves, because Sony doing this could find a way around it. So even though Microsoft is saying, oh yeah, it's going to continue to stay multiplat, they're going, nah, it's not. How the hell can it stay multiplat? We would wiggle our way around it, so they're going to wiggle their way around it. They can't see themselves beyond it. But it's business, man. Like, it absolutely is. Like,
it's not show friends. One thing I'll also add, there's another layer to this, right? Microsoft could very easily use COD as a bargaining chip. They can say, listen, you want the new mainline CODs? It's going to have to be crossplay. And we're not playing your asshole crossplay tax.
Yeah, so you're going to have to let us put Xbox Live on your side so that we can do full crossplay.
Right?
To keep COD running.
And you don't have to do it, but you also don't have to have this game.
Exactly.
Right? So there's also several comments in the chat saying, like, well, this is not about exclusivity. This is about in 2 years we get an announcement, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 16 will be day one on Game Pass, and that will change the landscape more than anything.
Okay, so to that point, let me speak on that, because that's where I wanted to come next. So
Pause.
This is the
pause.
Yes.
You ain't coming around me, bro.
Oh, hey now, that's one. That's your last one too. We're out of it now. We're tapped out.
So what happens here is Sony's entire business model is spend $100 million, $200 million on a game, release it, get the day one sales, recoup the cost. We've trained the customer. They're even begging us to pay more. We're telling them $70. They're like, here, take 80 because greatness. I smell the fragrance of greatness, right?
Stop it.
They've trained their consumers to do that. And listen, on the back end, they're amortizing those costs by way of director's cuts and sequels that are using the same assets and things like that. So it's not like they're just spending that $100 million or $200 million on that one game.
Yeah.
They're getting their money back. But anyway, that's besides the point. They're able to do that under the guise of quality, right? Now, these are big games. God of War is going to be huge, right? GT7, big game. Horizon Forbidden West, big game. So people feel like the value perception is there, and they say it is worth it for me to buy this. Once a game like COD is in this subscription service, day one, it now ruins that business model. It devalues how much you can charge for the next God of War on day one. It devalues what you can charge for Spider-Man. It definitely devalues PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, of course.
Because right now you can say, look, Xbox got no games. So
but you see what you're describing here? But you see, at the core of it, what you're describing, you're describing people's perception of things. That's my issue.
But
you're not describing what's really. But that's all they care about. That's right.
But perception becomes dollars and cents. So if Microsoft can train the consumer to expect games that are at the level of COD, the biggest game in the industry,
Sony can no longer say, see, these games are such a cut above, we can't put them as a subscription service, because then the consumer can turn around and go, well, COD is at that level. You even said so yourself. So if they can do that, why can't you? I completely understand that, but it's just it's a crappy game that they're playing, and more folks are seeing through it. Am I wrong?
And the other interesting thing is every other publisher asked, and they were self-serving in their responses, saying no, it's not going to change anything. It's not unique. You know why they said that? For the same reason that Littlefinger from Game of Thrones says chaos is a ladder. If people begin to associate COD with Xbox, they want to jump in that place for PlayStation.
Well, but you also to be fair though, you have to also understand when they said it was not special, the specific language they used
as it pertains to foreclosure concerns, which means you're not going to go out of business if you don't have COD.
Exactly. The specific language they used was to answer a specific question, not to the body politic, but to specifically the regulators that were asking that specific kind of question. Meaning, is this experience so unique and so such a special snowflake in the environment that if you take it away from someone that it can't be competed with? That's the reason why UB and all them went, hey, you know, there's Battlefield, there's this. They may not be as good, but they are competitors in that space, you know, and someone can make a competitor in that space. And the number one argument against all of this, the number one thing that dashes all of these arguments completely is like Nintendo's on the corner over here with the abacus known as the Nintendo Switch, counting their money, killing all of y'all, and they've never seen COD on their platform. So can you compete without it? Hell yeah. Nintendo says what's up, right? So all of this is just Sony playing a specific kind of game. I would have been surprised if they went out and said, oh yeah, we're fine. Like this is, come on now, right? For my soccer fans out there, the bully on the pitch is running down the field, like manhandling things left and right. You're really upset with him. The minute that it looks like there's a perception of a foul, he's holding his knee. He's out there. Come on. That's Sony. Like that's what's going on. How many years have they money had things? And now they're the victim. I said this multiple times. I'll say it one last time. The culprit becomes the victim in the eyes of the unknowing. That's what Sony's hoping here. You haven't done your research. You don't know what we do in the market. But here we are holding our knee. Hopefully you give us the file. That's what's happening. You know, that's where I think this is going, you know. And hey, it is what it is. It's business. If they get away with it, I'll be very upset because that means those regulatory bodies did not do their homework, right? That's what that means.
How long is it before Sony buys a publisher or studio or whatever and has a massive game and says day one on Sony's service?
We're waiting for that. We want that. We all want that.
That's
right?
Would be great.
And you know what?
It'd be great for gaming.
And you know what? It is good that you asked that question because before we end this show, I want to have that conversation. Okay. Now,
this is why I got up this morning.
This is why this man got up this morning because I insisted he come on this show.
I'm on the West Coast, guys.
So needless to say, he and I have conversations from time to time, you know, catch up, how you doing, what's going down. Needless to say, and we were talking recently, and I was telling him how basically all of PlayStation's games are coming to PC, right?
Horrible.
And now, a quick aside, just so you understand who I'm talking to here. This man was one of the first people in the first group, if you will, to get an Xbox Series X. The thing is still 2 years later in the box. He plays an Xbox One S, not a Series S.
I'm not playing
a One S, and he's not even playing that right now, is he?
Because you know, all I do is work.
He kept his Series X in the box. Why? Because I don't see any really good exclusives to play with it. So I want to ask this question. Right?
That's true.
And everyone, I want you all up in here as well. Please, like, join the conversation. I want to know in the modern gaming world that we are in today, and the reason why I want to have this conversation because Machado, you talking back and forth with you about this, you are one of the only folks that I've talked to that genuinely has a worry that's not from a console war, you know, stripes perspective, right? So it's a worthy conversation to have, I think, right? Most people are, console war BS, and you know where that goes. You're not about that, right? So let's have that conversation. Everybody point and laugh at him. Thank you.
Dude said I'm still playing in 30 FPS.
So I said this to him and he was just like, whoa, like what's going on here? you know, and he is Mr. Exclusive, right? And I've always been I've always like used the example of, you don't buy a new TV expecting an exclusive movie, right? You know that when you're watching your CRT, you'll see the same. No, but listen, you know that when you're watching your CRT, you'll see the same movie.
What the kids call cope, Kay Asante.
Cope.
You'll see the same movie, you know, on your CRT. It won't look as good, but if you want to watch The Matrix in its full fidelity, you grab the Blu-ray, you put it in, same movie on a better screen, and you get the benefits of that. Doesn't mean that the movie is any less worth watching, but it's different hardware, different capabilities, different specs. We don't need to live in a world where you have to buy device A only to be able to play device B. That is an artifact of a time long past. And I actually think, me personally, I think that we are in a better place in the world because you now have options to play it wherever the hell you want. But that's neither here nor there. What did you, Mr. Mashano Loon, like, what is your worry? What is your concern in today's day and age that for some reason it looks like we're losing exclusives? And people in the chat, please tell me what you think. I'll highlight your stuff. You know, are you cool with exclusives? Is that part of your purchasing decision? Or are you okay with the fact that, hey, I'm playing this on my phone and then I move it to the console when I'm ready, and then I move it to the PC because everything can interrupt.
That's how I look at it. That to me is one of the most next gen things. This carrying the game across, cross progression.
I hate it.
Please speak on it. Speak on it. Go ahead.
To quote a certain horse from Red and Stimpy, no, sir, I don't like it.
No, sir, I don't like it. Nope.
I'm out.
No, for sure. Like,
I
genuinely.
I have 3 points. I'm going to make them very quickly, okay?
Please.
The first point is this. When you can play everything on anything, everything is the same thing. I have a real problem with that as a creative person and as a person who creates stuff. The whole reason why it's cool that you have, let's call them camps or options, different options, is because it's cool because different communities form around these different options, different experiences form around these different options. I've never been a console war guy. I've always had every console. I don't unpack them, but I own them. You know, we're talking details here.
Yeah, that's right. Context matters.
I'm trying to get a PS5 right now.
Just to keep it in the box. It's a big box. Trust me.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that on a separate podcast. But the point is, there's a reason for that. The PlayStation 5 has things that the Xbox doesn't offer me. I want to have all these experiences. When we are starting to,
that exists.
This is just point one. This is just point one.
Yes.
When we are going to start doing the thing of with these mega deals, especially of like, no, we're not cutting it off from PlayStation, and no, we're not cutting it off from this. Obviously, this is all companies trying to figure out how can we make as much money from people playing on as many different platforms as possible. The more players, the more money. This is great for the corporations and the employees. I'm not convinced it's great for the players. That's my first point. My second point is I truly believe that the happiest I've ever been in gaming, and maybe you guys can attest to this, and guys in the chat and girls in the chat, was when I was in line waiting for freaking Halo 3 to come out for the Xbox, and you had to have the Xbox if you wanted that experience. Sure. And there was something about that. That was true. That's still core of gaming to me. The exclusive still has a core. What is even an exclusive in 2022? What is an exclusive in 2030? They will have a kiddie version for my nephews. They will have an adult version for us. They will have an in-flight version for people on flights. Where is this going? Like the next steps is what I'm concerned about. And my third point is the Sega Dreamcast, especially for Everborn Saga.
Yes.
I still don't understand why you haven't changed your name to Everborn Sega. I think that needs to happen.
I did for a while. But I got to keep the branding on point. I'm trying to put my franchise out.
That's true. You're trying to get paid too. Virtua Tennis. I'm actively trying to get my. Thank you. On Sega Dreamcast.
Predecessor to Top Spin, also fire. Continue.
Oh yeah, okay. But all this stuff, I'm trying to actively get my hands on a Dreamcast to play some games that were only on Dreamcast. When I think about the past, like the past of where it was on a platform, when I think about the the current where it's going like, oh, you can play it on anything, it doesn't matter. And when I think about the future of where this could go, besides people making a shitload of money, I'm struggling to see the positives, because if you really want to play a game and it's only on PC, as gamers, you'll get the PC. If you really want to play that game that's on PlayStation, you'll get the PlayStation. I think that's good for their businesses. And being different, that's why you need to get Netflix to watch certain things and Hulu to watch certain things. It's not on all the platforms.
But see, your Netflix and Hulu example, that's a very good point. But where is Netflix? Everywhere. The exclusive is the platform, not where it exists. It exists everywhere. Netflix is on your phone. It's on your PC. It's on your console of choice. It's on every console. It's everywhere. But you can only get the game, the movie you want to watch, or the show you want to watch from that platform.
Okay, you just killed my point. Now I'm going to remove that point from my board. I never said that. What I'm saying is, this is how you do it, guys. When proven wrong, I never said that.
No. I hear you. I hear you. See, I'm
worried.
I hear where you're coming from.
I'm worried that something we love is dying.
Is getting lost.
Yeah, it's getting lost.
I get that. And I hear you on that, because absolutely, I'm with you on that. That camaraderie of being there the day you're in line, you're playing with your gamers, your crew. You know, you want to get the new hardware or the new software or whatever it is, and just to experience that thing on that device. Back then, it was a necessity, and that's where we had it, right? I see that there's change. I just think that change is actually good for gaming in general. And I want to tease out where your worries lie.
PlayStation games on PC. Say that sentence.
Just like Xbox games on PC.
It's different because Microsoft is famous for their role in everything that happened on PC and their operating systems. So there's a marriage there already. I can see that. When I heard Microsoft Game Pass on PC, I was like, I'm not really totally into it, but I can see it. You know, when I hear PlayStation, Sony, Japanese PlayStation games on PC, I'm like, this is a money grab.
Nintendo games on PC. Here's the thing. I believe that this war, this mental war that you're fighting, I believe you lost it back when the consoles moved to x86.
x86, yeah. You lost it in Xbox One and PS4.
The writing has been on the wall since then, and everything is going to become homogenized. And the more
that's how ponies think.
But more seriously, you have to think, and the chip shortage is adding to this, right?
Yes.
I know that Sony is hurting because there's this tremendous demand for the PlayStation, and if only they could make more of them, they would have that much more sold and that much more of an available user base to release these games on. And if you become sort of hardware agnostic, and I know it sucks because there's different things, and this idea, if you just come from the maker era, this idea that different hardware manufacturers would make bespoke hardware and software would work specifically for that bespoke hardware, that is interesting. And we've seen that the results that you get there have been amazing. But what we have also seen is that nothing that has been done with bespoke hardware can't be transferred over to the generalized hardware that is PC. And if you can do that,
there is a problem. You touched on a huge point that I didn't even think about. Thank you, Everborn. This is maybe the most important part.
I gave him an arrow for his quiver.
That's right, a bullet for the gun. Go ahead.
I messed up on the Netflix. I'll admit it. But I got something better. When you're making a game, it's day one. You're making a game. I've been in that situation. You think about what platform is this going to be on? Whatever. Let's say that you have. I'm talking like a weaker platform and a stronger platform. Whatever the weaker one is
where you start, and that's
where you start. So how can you have the best possible experience if it's already diminished? Because
I have an answer for you on that. So first and foremost, Everborn, the developer here, as you also are developing, has proved my point on next gen games with that statement right there. If you choose to include a weaker piece of hardware in your first development decision, you're never making that next gen game at that point, because you will never hit the heights that you need to hit for that hardware, because you always have to adhere to the lowest common denominator. But to the point of what you're saying, I hear you, but that is not everything, right? That's why that's where I was going before with next gen doesn't necessarily have to be just ray tracing, right? And besides, things like ray tracing are scalable. You can turn it off or turn it on, and it won't change the fundamentals of the game, right? You can do that. You can use other methods to achieve the same task without it necessarily fundamentally changing the game. Now, where that's not true is CPU complexity, AI complexity, right? You should be able to follow a person in GTA 5 or GTA 6, let's just say. Follow that person to work, follow him home, follow him to the racquetball court, follow him to go kiss his kids, and then go to bed and keep following him.
Oh, no, sorry.
Or kill him all. That's right. And keep following him. And each day they will cycle through their life and the complexities of life without you even being there. And that's to every single NPC that is in that world. That is next gen, right? But unfortunately, because you adhere to the lowest common denominator, those Jaguar Core CPUs can't do that. So instead, they're like, they're standing on the block, just kind of sitting there with a canned response every time you ask them a question, right? That's the problem with GTA 5 and games that are large like that. It's like they're all there, but they're all for show, because the minute you start talking to them, right, NPCs get kind of why? Because of the lowest common denominator hardware.
Let me make a controversial statement.
Please go ahead. Yes.
In terms of, and I know.
And by the way, I see so many folks in the chat. Conversation is hot and heavy. It's great. We appreciate you being here. Keep talking. We'll bring you guys in as we can. Go ahead.
And I hate to be on the side of these PC maniacs.
Oh boy.
Here's the hot take here. You have never on console had the best experience possible ever with any game you've ever played.
He just described all of you Civic drivers, which are heated seats.
Because if you had developed that game, whatever era we are in, if you developed it with the best available hardware, you would have developed it on whatever the best video card on PC was out at the time.
It would have been $1,000 to buy the hardware. It's not $400.
That's right.
Right, but so what I'm saying is you're already living with constraints. So if we're saying like because constraints are just a reality of the medium, then you're always going to be factoring in lower hardware than what you could have. So you're never truly getting that next gen experience. That's
true. No, but that doesn't negate the point though. And thank you, Pixel. Completely. I said exactly the same thing he was good. He just said it's still. I get what you're saying, right? You'll never be able to use all 4 lanes of the highway, if you will, which is the hardware equivalent of what you want to really use. But if you go into the game adhering to that lowest common, specifically with consoles, because even on PC, the lowest common denominator can be fudged with, because PC, they leave it open-ended. Hey, you bought it, you deal with it. However you make it work. We set a low standard and a high standard, and then we let you go to town on PC, right? Whereas on console, we have to profile for you. We have to make sure that it runs exactly what we say it does on the tin, right? So that's the reason why games like Gotham Knights can start off as a cross-gen title, and then at the end they go, yeah, we can't promise that 30 frames will be locked as we said we would. So you know what? We're dropping last gen. Doesn't automatically make you a next-gen game, though. Just because the last gen version is now not existing.
I don't want to have this argument with you again, Kay Sante. If the game is only releasing for next gen consoles, it's a next gen game.
Yeah.
By definition. End of story. Thank you.
But you made a good point, Kay. You actually made a massive point. You actually made my point for me. Like I just made your point for you, so it will be 1-1. If I manage to make another point, it will be 1-2. Okay. So
go ahead.
Your point stands. And it goes back to what I was saying. it used to be that a game was made for, I don't know, PlayStation or Xbox, and then they would optimize it to the max for what that Xbox could do.
That's right. Yeah,
you're totally right. Evermore, you were totally right. At any point, it could have been better on PC. My entire point was there were also games that were made exclusively for PC that ran at the optimal of what was possible in the world, and people were willing to pay $1,000 to experience that. I loved that back in the days. You could say, I said it back in the days. You could say, okay, I want the best possible experience on Xbox, cutting edge for consoles currently for Xbox right now. That's going away. So if we're going to use lower common denominator, we're going to have lesser experiences overall. Like this, how could that be good for anyone?
I'll tell you.
I hear you on that.
Where we are evolving to is we are going to evolve past the consoles. You can see that. Everyone can see that. I don't think that that's a large leap for me to say, right?
I mean, like, not anywhere in the next 10 years, but yes, eventually there'll be no consoles.
It is where we are headed, right?
Yeah.
And today, what cloud gaming looks like is, hey, we set up a Series X rig on a cloud server rack somewhere, and it's just going to run a game in a hypervisor, right? That's what it is today.
Yep.
But when you start developing sort of cloud native games, you can't tell me that's
stuff
not
starts
next
coming
gen.
out. Yeah.
Right, but you can't tell me that is not next gen, because that's new technology we don't have today that goes past what any individual box could do. So we're still moving into the next gen.
Yes. No, I agree with you on that. Yeah.
But
and by the way,
but to Evermore's point, it used to be, Kay, when you had an Xbox 360 and you saw the first gameplay for an Xbox exclusive for whatever was next.
It looked way better than the one before.
You're like, I need to get that next console. That moment, that experience will die out with us.
Well, no. But see, the reason why it dies out is not necessarily because of what you think. It's dying out because they can't get enough of us to buy that new hardware to then warrant spending all the dollars building that new game that then disses the old gen. Now, Microsoft has solved that problem. They have. It just hasn't been really instituted fully. Like, they solved that problem with Flight Sim, right? If you have that old Jaguar core, you can still play Flight Sim on your old OG Xbox. You're just playing it through the cloud native app that they have installed on the Xbox, right? So that way, when a developer is developing, they don't have to worry about your hardware, so they can actually shoot for the moon without worrying about your Jaguar cores. If that was an implemented solution across the board, then you would see PlayStation like diss the old cores. Believe it or not, people, PS3 CPU was more powerful than the PS4. They took a downgrade. That cell processor that people keep complaining about, it was far more capable than what you're seeing now. Obviously, with new advances, the new processors now are far more optimized and less money, resource hungry and all of that. But still, it could churn out more butter than the new one can. So until they're able to separate themselves, PS4 and PS5, you will always see a tie that binds. And it's business, right? How many PS5s are in the wild these days compared to PS4s, right? And as we all know, it's been like documented many times, costs of making these AAA games are ballooning. So as they are ballooning, you can't afford to diss a segment, the segment that's a bigger pot of your pie than the new consoles. You can't afford to diss them, because if you do, they're not buying your content, and content is key, right? So because of that, they can't go to the complex AI worlds. They can't do that because they're not sure enough people have it in their hands to be able to play the console when they do that way, right? If they are able to make their own kind of offshoot workaround where, hey, PS4 people, now you all can play from a cloud native a browser app or something, then they don't have to worry about them anymore. But they don't have that solution. So that's where we are. You know what I'm saying? That is literally where we are, unfortunately, with it. But I guess where I want to bring it back a bit home more to you, Machado, what I want to know is, you keep saying that you see the value of this future we're heading down, right? You see the value of it for companies, you see the value of it for developers, but you don't see the value of it for actual gamers. You don't see that being able to play, like, for instance, I have never, and this is, and I'm always calling out Everborn's backlog gaps, laughing at him, but I've never called out one of mine. I have never played the first, second God of War all the way through. Never been able to do it for reasons. Never done it, right? And of course, now I had it on PS3. There's a collection. I never played through it, whatever. Through emulation, I am now playing God of War 1 and 2 on Steam Deck. And I'm actually having a pretty damn good time playing through it, right? The idea that hardware that software no longer gets stuck on the hardware it lives on. Another example. This week, I've been surprised at how well I've been playing Jet Set Radio Future, the OG Xbox game, on Steam Deck. It emulates well, plays so great, and the cell shading 3D. I'm like, yo, these people were ahead of their time, and that game is still on Xbox One only, OG Xbox. You can't play it on 360. It never made the back compat leap. It's stuck there, right? I don't see a world where that's a problem.
You can emulate it, but like Xbox can't. That's kind of hilarious to me.
I don't think that Xbox can't. Obviously, it's the music that's in there. It's the music. They have very interesting music, and because of that, that's what's happening there. But I guess my point in saying that is all of this leads me, and on the same Steam Deck, I am remote playing to my PS5. So I'm playing Forbidden West on here. I'm using the browser to get to Game Pass so that I'm playing a bunch of Game Pass games right on here. The idea that one device can just do all things has really opened my eyes to a world where being locked to just a device because, that's where it's played, it's antiquated thinking,
you
man.
Selfish bastard. Gee, this guy's got everything on one device, and now he's like, the whole industry should move here.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
isn't it good for the customer not to have to buy multiple devices?
Exactly. Like you can take your device.
If you're lazy, back in the days, culturally speaking, I don't think we'll have a blast like we did when there were exclusives. I get that it's great for business. It might be good for like a 12-year-old who just getting into gaming, like, I can just have this Steam Deck and I can just play everything I want. They'll never experience what it was like when it was like, you got to have that console. You got to have that experience with that controller, with that feel in that moment. The cultural moment is what I'm worried about. We can buy any console. We can buy any, but the cultural moment, will the memories of kids that are playing today be the same as for us? Will they be passionate gamers 20 years down the road? Maybe not, because you can get it everywhere. Remember when you used to be able to like play illegal games? We never did that, but other people did. And then these people would have a bunch of games. We just to be clear, we have never done that. These other people would have every game in the world, and they try out something, and they try to be like, whatever, I can easily get it anywhere. I can play anything all the time. I don't think that's good. I think limiting is good because then you have to make choices, which is good for culture. That's my point.
Okay, so you do see the benefit.
Hold on. Sounds like we're on the side of gatekeeping. Is what it sounds like.
No, we're not. I don't want to see happen to gaming what happened to hip hop.
Okay.
Oh well. Okay, I'll give you that.
Okay.
But I will argue.
Very interesting needle you thread there. Good job.
No. Give you that. But this happens when anything gets, very large, right?
Yes.
Paul, right? It starts out organic. It starts out everything is striving to be unique. And then as it grows, you see copies of copies of copies until everything is watered down. Everyone is playing.
You're convincing them, man.
And no one is. I get that.
Machado, they're coming to your side. They understand you.
No, I'm not, because I'm going to. I'm just lulling him into a false sense of security. So, if you want to make the parallel to hip hop, the thing about hip hop is the kind of music we used to listen to is still being made today. Yep. The issue is that it doesn't get bubbled up
to the top,
the way that it used to, because we used to go to the gatekeepers, which were the radio stations or whoever, or the MTVs of the world, to tell us this is the new song and give us this info and force feed us. Now we are in a world where you create your own playlist. The gatekeeper that is the radio or MTV is less relevant. So it is up to you now to go out and find, because there's more music being made than ever before, and there's music to fit everyone's taste in hip hop, right? So you just have to, you can't tell me Benny the Butcher doesn't rap like how if you grew up in the 90s and you hear guys that rap like that. You can't tell me that you don't have those experiences. You do, and it might seem few and far between, but at the level of which because there wasn't so much of it back then, it's actually at the same rate of good stuff today. It's just so much bad stuff in between the good stuff. We don't realize we're getting the same amount of music that we love. You just have to search for it. And I think the same thing will go for gaming.
You just said something. You just have to search for it. So what you're saying is PlayStation, Sony, all these companies, they can basically fire their marketing department because we have to do it ourselves. That's not how it works. How it works is there will be a massive deal. Microsoft will say day one, Call of Duty, and that will be a game changer, right? So marketing, more than even with hip hop, we used to listen to hip hop that was actually good. Now, if you turn on the hip hop radio in your car, you're like,
can't listen to the radio anymore.
This is like this is just mumbling. They literally call it mumble.
But remember, but listen. But Machano, the point you're making right now, although an apt point, I'm not saying you're wrong, but you're basically saying back in the day when they used to curate it for us on TV, we used to have 2 stations. Now we have too many stations. And we have to find the shows we want ourselves. Or now we live in a world of subscription services where you have to purchase your subscription service tailored to your experience. Yes, it's a change, but it doesn't automatically mean that you lose. I hear you on you lose the excitement of that youth. That I get you. I know where you're from,
but how much of that is a factor of us just aging,
getting old,
right?
That's right.
Like
yes,
So it seems like we're saying get those mobile devices and PCs off of our lawn, right?
Oh, that's not what
this is like old man screams at cloud, right?
Whether we like it or not, I don't think. To Evan Bourne's point, whether we like it or not, I don't think that how we experienced it is how our kids will experience it. And even if they did experience it exactly that way, they'd go, get me out of here. Like, they're used to instant access. They're like, my son goes to a screen and starts touching it because they expect everything to be touchscreen. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they're of a different time. So what used to excite us, even if we force fed that exactly to them the same way, they wouldn't be as excited for it as we were. It's just a sign of the times, brother.
That is a good point. I do think that when you talk about like, oh, we used to watch YoMTV at 6 p.m. when we came home from school, and it was curated for us. I think that was great because it allowed us, all the fans of that, to be at the same spot at the same time on MTV with Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. Yes. What happens now is you can watch that hip hop song on any channel.
Exactly.
Which I don't think it's good because I think it waters stuff down if I can play anything on everything and watch anything on everything.
The challenge of curation is 100% true. I will not deny
power comes great responsibility
and great profit and great profits.
Yes,
great profit.
But maybe we should stop looking to these corporate overlords to tell us what to like. We got to find it. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
And unfortunately, it brings change, right? That's the change it's bringing.
I don't like change.
But that's the point. But look, and I bring this website. I put this website up because I wanted you to see, Machano. They've been heading toward the PC route since 2015, bro. They've been slowly, quietly on the margins. And there's this game that nobody really cares about, or that game that nobody really cares about.
They've been kind of putting nobody cares about. They can do whatever the hell they want.
See, listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. Come on now.
All right, let me throw a feather in. Let me give you another arrow, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
For the quiver. We can see that Microsoft is further down this road of sort of generalized development environments, right? PC console is one thing. They're not porting over the console. When you develop an Xbox game, you are by definition developing for the console and the PC at the same time, right? They're doing that. Have they given us anything at the level of Ratchet and Clank or Horizon Forbidden West yet? And these are games that were designed specifically to take advantage of their bespoke hardware.
Okay, so I hear you, but to be fair, they were at different levels of their backbone between Ratchet and Clank and what Xbox was doing. So they were incapable of doing that Ratchet and Clank thing then. They are capable of it now, and hopefully we'll see that now.
We don't have a
what
game
I mean,
now.
real quick. What I mean by that is, as it's already been documented, PlayStation's development environment is the PS4's development environment, exactly the same, only with PS5 features bolted onto the PS4's development environment, right? So you can, if you develop for PS4, you're developing for PS5, and you can take off day one knowing exactly what to do because you've been using it a while, right? Xbox's development environment, they did kind of a hybrid solution because we're moving to Gen 9, right? Gen 8 is the PS4, Xbox One gen. Gen 9 is the PS5 next gen, if you will, right? Well, current gen now. PlayStation's solution was to just bolt on Gen 9 to Gen 8 from a development perspective, right? So you can just kind of off to the races, which is great solution for them. It's been tried and true, and it's been reported well that people like that development environment. It was the solution that they came up with when the PS3 was such a disaster, right? Xbox is moving to a unified environment where if you're developing, and you know that's also been documented. If you're developing on PC, if you're developing for cloud, if you're developing specifically for console, it's all the same development environment, right? Because they know that if you make it any difficult at all to develop for Xbox at all, if you give them an excuse not to develop for Xbox, they will take it. Developers will. So what they're doing is they're going, oh, you usually develop for PC anyway, so how about I'll make it easy for you to do for PC, easy for you to do for add cloud components if you need to, easy to do it for Xbox consoles if you need to. All you need to do is just use our one development environment to do so. So while that was being worked out, they were still on the old dev environment that wasn't capable of doing the ray tracing the way you wanted, the Ratchet and Clankness of it and all that, whereas PlayStation was from jump. That's the reason why you now see like the divergence of the tools, right? You see the divergence of, hey, even the same game now, and recently they released, Bright Memory Infinite. Recently they released Bright Memory Infinite. And there are comparisons to Bright Memory Infinite for console, Xbox, PlayStation. Obviously, PC burns them all because PC you can just turn every dial up to 11 and ray tracing, and it's amazing and whatnot. But on Xbox, compared to PlayStation, you know, the Xbox One is hitting solid frame rates at high resolution consistently, whereas the PlayStation one's now slowly, even though it's not the worst, it's slowly starting to show where Xbox is finally taking the lead. And it's not even a small 10-15% lead either. It's closer to 20-30% in certain instances. So it's just a matter of timing. They, you know, you can give them the smoke for them not being ready from day one, and they completely deserve that. But there's a reason why they couldn't show you what they were showing you. And Everborn, to your question, where is the game? That should be, and the operative word being should, that should be the next Forza that we will see. Will it blow everybody's wig back?
I'm sure it will be. I'm not coming at Xbox. I'm just saying, like, those Ratchet and Clank and Forbidden West experiences are something to behold, and those were developed for the hardware first. And it is taking the generalized development environment longer to hit those heights.
Sure. Well, and to your point, you're absolutely right. But the reason why that is, of course, and why you would expect that from PlayStation is because that's been their business model from jump, right? And Xbox has been trying to get away from that business model. So it behooves PlayStation to show you a showcase of what makes that hardware shine from day one, because their business model has always been, you buy my hardware, you play my games, right?
Well, I mean,
Xbox has always been diversifying that. So it makes kind of sense why they would make it a priority to show you the best of what they can do from day one. You know what I'm saying?
And listen, I think the Xbox Play is for the long run the better one. You know, there's this old saying, you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. So this sort of unified approach to their tools, I think, will pay dividends in the long run.
In the long run,
yes. Prove to hurt Sony. So they're
is what they chose.
Get out the gate running.
They chose exactly.
But long run, you know,
yes. Because what they did, and although it sucks, and I agree with you, I don't disagree at all with you or Machado on this. But if you think about it, they sacrificed the whiz bang from the jump because if you look at a game, one generation, like the good old generations of the past, where you had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then you're not through, but you X the hardware, right? And then you move on. Look at the game they created at the beginning of the gen, and look at the game they created at the end of the gen for the same hardware. It's always a drastic difference, right? So I think Microsoft saw that.
Rise still looks good.
Oh, it looks amazing. Rise is still woefully underrated and should get a sequel, you know, or at least a remake or something. I think Microsoft saw that cadence, and it always happens year after year as developers learn the tools, as they get better at it, the hardware, better at understanding the hardware, the output shines, right? So they're like, you know what? Maybe from jump, we'll take the L and let the Dragon Engine show it for us, which is not the best look, right? But in the long run, you know, after the tools are ironed out and everything's clean and all of that, you will see the dearth of, hey, what we really can do when our unified environment is kicking on all cylinders. You know what I mean? Although I'm also the one, and of course, I'm speaking to your point now. I'm also the one that said, screw that, Microsoft. You are the company that made the Surface because you needed people to see Windows for what it could really do. Why didn't you do that with Microsoft, with Xbox? Even if it's a freaking 15-minute tech demo to show all the heights that the Series S could reach if you do it right. You know, so that at that point, every time all the developers or the industry at large is dragging their feet, you can always point to that and go, see, it exists. It can be done. But because perception is reality, you got nothing to show them. They think that console is a wicked stepchild that can't compete, right? Because you haven't showed them that it can compete. It is your responsibility as a first party to show them that it actually can compete, which you kind of did with Hivebusters, but it was included in a bundle. It should have been separated. It should have been celebrated, right? It should have been really out in front showing, hey, this is what Series S can do. Look at Hivebusters real quick. You know what I mean? Something like that. So I do agree with you guys that it's lost its luster in the new world where games can be played all over. They need to spend more time, you know, polishing and shining and giving you reason to want to buy that plastic, right? That's where you're coming from, Mashana. Am I wrong?
Yeah. So it is. You know, things are. I think there's two reasons. My main one is the cultural one and the experiences. Yeah. But you're right. My nephews or your kids, they if we give them a choice between experience it how it was for us or experiencing your way, they would be like, "Get out of here, Grandpa." And I'd be like,
"They're on Roblox all day."
I'm your uncle. I'm your uncle. I'm not your grandpa. I'm your uncle. I'm not your grandpa. You know, that would be the first thing. But the second thing is, and it goes back to Everborn's point, and we were talking about like Ratchet and Clank or whatever. It will never be as good as on PC. PC will always be leading. It will always be better. This was back in the days when we lived in Holland. Your stuff looked just better on PC. But I do think there's something to be said for a super powerful new console, to have a game made for it and to see what can this thing do to its maximum capabilities. And I still believe in the power of exclusives, drawing people to be part of a community, of a certain experience. And it feels different when you play PlayStation versus when you play Xbox. And it should feel different. Different is good. Sitting in the middle and being like, we're for everybody. I don't think it's good.
So if I show you an emulated version of God of War running on an Xbox, playing with an Xbox controller, you feel weird about it, don't you?
I would feel like I'm cheating, yes.
You feel like you're cheating.
Cheating on my baby mama. You know, this is not
good. I understand. No, I do. I understand. There is definitely a loss that is being had with all of the new technology and all the new conveniences, right? There is definitely a loss there, right? And even speaking developmentally, you know, there's a loss when you have to shave down all the corners to be able to make sure that it's capable of playing everywhere. I get what you're saying. It's just I think there's more exciting things to come in this space than there is detrimental reasons, right?
That's the question. And that's the question. 5 years from now, will we look back and say the loss that we had with like culturally or being part of that specific community? Of course, you can still be part of the Xbox community and the PlayStation community. There's no problem. But the loss of that, if the gain of that is 1 billion new players from emerging markets, and the gain is so big that the loss is worth it, I'm in. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that yet. So I'm waiting.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
What is replacing this thing we all love so much? What is this thing? Okay, now you can play Last of Us on PC. Okay. Is that cool? I don't know. I don't think that's cool. Well, maybe it is cool.
Exactly. But see, that's exactly my point, right? Last of Us on PC has always been stinted because they've always relied on the lowest common denominator hardware, right? If they somehow, some way come up with a way of not using that console's hardware as the definitive like lowest common denominator, they can give you better Last of Us and you wouldn't recognize it, because the reason why The Last of Us will always just look great right where you're looking and not where you're not looking is because they always have to adhere to the lowest common denominator.
Exactly.
Right. So as Everborn is saying, when we shed our reliance on console hardware and everything is being played in the cloud, you will see so much more of that whiz bang that blows your wig back that you're looking for, that Unreal 3 to Unreal 5 difference, because at that point that hardware is substantially more performant than anything you could get in your home. You know what I'm saying? That's at least that's the pinnacle dream of it, right? And we should start seeing more of that with Unreal Engine 5 even. Like they're really promoting realism. So we shall see.
There's a way. If the companies are willing to say, like, okay, it costs $5 million to make this game, I'm just making something up, let's say $50 million, we're willing to put our money where our mouth is. This is really for the gamers, right? Okay, we're willing.
You're damn right, Slow-Mo. I could not have said it better myself.
This may be true. Maybe I should get that monitor today. It's a Saturday. But
I showed you the monitor. I did. Go ahead.
If the companies are so, because what I don't like is when they're like, this is better for the players. Okay, if it's really better for the players, then you should say, we're going to develop this as best as we can for PlayStation 5, and we're going to have a separate development team that is going to develop it at the highest possible quality for PC that it can possibly be. And you have separate teams, and they'll pay double the price.
But the reason why that doesn't need to be done, the reason why that doesn't need to be done, because back in the PS3 days, the PS2, PS1, yes, that needed to be done, right? And there's a way to develop that's similar, but never exact. So then you take your core and then you make it bespoke as much as possible for whichever platform you're doing it for. But because of the x86 world we live in today, that's no longer necessary, right? Because a PC game is an x86 game, and an Xbox game is an x86 game, and a PlayStation game is an x86 game. And heck, even a Switch game can be an x86 game. Well, not really, but there are very good tools that can convert it to make it an x86 game, to the point where even developing for that becomes less than it used to be, right? So they no longer, that's Xbox's whole plan. They're like, look, if we need you, developer, to spin up a whole different group in order to make our Xbox game shine, you won't do that. You don't have the money for that. You don't care about our hardware like we care about our hardware. So we're gonna make sure our development environment is as close to your core method of working as possible, so it's not any effort for you to make an Xbox game. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're doing it the way they're doing it now, and they think it'll benefit them. And I think so too. I think in the long run, you'll see more Xbox games come out because it's not too much effort for a PC or a normal developer to make an Xbox game.
So what you're saying is that with the current technology, you can run a game at its max on Xbox Series X and its max on PC.
Exactly.
Are there teams that are actually like diving into this? Because I know that the current mindset, or at least from what I hear, it's still like, oh, so we're doing this for, going back to whatever Everborn said and what we were talking about. Oh, we're doing this for just this platform. Oh, then it could be Ratchet and Clank. Oh, we're doing this for multiple platforms. Then we need to have this lowest common denominator in mind.
It's because we are in that Gen 9 aware half in half-out world that we're still stuck here. Because in that world, right, it's about whatever hardware you have, the highest fidelity you have is what will shine, right? And obviously, CPU power doesn't scale, but GPU power does scale, right? So when we break away from that world and we're solely in Gen 9, that's when you can use machine learning, and you can use your lowest common denominator becomes Series S in the console space, right?
Yeah.
And Series S has a lot of capabilities that have been dormant for 2 years because developers never touch it, because they're developing in a method of strength rather than intelligence, the development environment.
Yeah.
Right? They're not leveraging the machine learning. They're not leveraging the super resolution, the FSR 2.0 that's now been implemented. They're not leveraging those things. So in a world where you develop for the strongest, your hardware won't shine because the Series S is not the strongest.
Yeah.
Right. This is the world, right? So we need to be patient and let them break that world apart. So then, they're starting with Series S, and which is what they're doing now, right? So you're gonna have to wait for 2024, 2025, unfortunately, right? Right. Whereas on PlayStation, the benefit of them bolting on new hardware specifications and new capabilities from software to an existing platform lets them shine bright from jump without having to do too much work, because there's not too much learning to do there. You already know how to develop for that environment. They're just giving you new tools and new features for that existing environment you already know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I will give a shout out to Sony, because when Xbox announced we're doing Xbox One, when they said we're doing Xbox One and we're doing Xbox One S and we're doing Xbox One this and we're doing, was I the only one who was a little confused? I was a little bit like, oh, nice.
Shout out to Lucius Luguscious, who basically recommended to you the same monitor that I did, good sir. Thank you, Lucius. Clearly, you are a man of culture. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking when I read that. Clearly, what we're seeing is it's basically called user segmentation. These companies have figured out not everybody's going to buy the most expensive consoles. Let's have some other options. And I'm not sure if they thought through what that would mean for gaming. So I will say about Sony, they have stuck to the very basic. I remember playing PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're just walking through the next generations. You try to figure out.
They don't want to upend the status quo. It doesn't work for them. That's why they're over there in Brazil going, stop them from changing everything. Damn it, we need to keep it the same.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing that.
Sounding like me, you know. So I do love that, but of course I do love that there's new players coming in. You know,
I'm looking forward to seeing what Miles Morales looks like in 21:9 aspect ratio, bro. It's gonna be amazing.
Or on the Steam Deck.
Or on the Steam Deck, as the man Everboy Saga chimes in. I was about to say you've been quiet for a little bit. Yes, you know, it's a new world where we get to test it out now. And as a person who plays PlayStation games also on PC, you still retain that PlayStation feel. Like if you played it on the console, you still retain that feel on your PC.
But
if you plug in a PS5 controller, you still get the crazy haptic feedback the PS5 controller provides.
To be fair, those are games that were ported to the PC. They were initially designed for that bespoke hardware.
They were initially designed for the PS5. That's right. And I don't see a world
you can port anything to a PC.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, that's most likely where your development environment started, right? Like I don't know. I look forward to a world where we see more of this stuff, but I don't see a world where PlayStation develops for PC first. That's never been their way, you know. Whereas Xbox and Microsoft, obviously,
I 100% see that happening.
Where their development environment is for PC first.
Not PC first, but they just have to get their development pipeline up to snuff, such that when you're developing for the PlayStation, you're also developing for the PC. Well, right? But this is work that Microsoft has done already.
Yeah, but I don't think that Sony can follow suit, right? Microsoft can do that. You know why Microsoft can do that? Because they basically create Visual Studio Plus. They create the development environment that people use. They're the arbiters of Havoc. They're the arbiters of DirectX, right? They can talk to NVIDIA and talk to AMD and say, look, This is the industry standard way that games
no, but
are being
that's
developed.
Not something that's exclusive to Microsoft. Look at Activision, right? They develop their games at the same time for console and PC. That's their development tools that will allow for that. Right now, if you're developing something in Unreal, or so I'm developing something in Unity, by definition, I'm developing it for the same time for Android, iOS, and PC, right? The IDE that you use, the development tools that you use, they obfuscate all those other things. So in the back end, you're just making one call to some function that is natively supported by that tool set, and then that call that you make will do all the work and translate it to the different platforms. Sony's environment is just not set up that way as of today.
Yet. You are right on that. You are right. If they do choose to make the investments needed, that could change. You are correct on that. I'll give you that 100%. And shout out to Pixelbit G in the chat saying the same thing. They had decades basically to develop with this environment, but Unreal can show Sony how to merge exactly. So Unreal can basically bridge the gap for them if they so chose to go down that path. But okay. So I think we should call the conversation here. I was trying to keep a brisk 2 hours. Everborn Saga was going to keep me honest, and here we are.
A damn joke, and there was no way we were hitting 2 hours. But I guess you're just not tired of me being right.
It's just close. It's what we do. What are you going to do? It is what it is. But of course, when you bring the gentleman in the room, and you have an intelligent conversation, it tends.
Don't blame it on him. We just run long.
We do. It is what it is.
I was like, I'm joining an hour later. There's no way I got it in me in the morning.
Big pause.
No worries. We run long, big pause.
But yes. Thank you, Mashana Loon, for joining us this morning.
Thanks, guys.
I understand that these days your gaming experiences are not what they used to be, but you still join us anyway.
Listen, last question has nothing to do with our talk.
Please.
Curve monitors or straight for gaming?
Oh, I'll tell you right now what you do for gaming. You open your damn Series X. That's what you do for gaming.
No, I cheated. I have both. The monitor that the Lucius Augustus recommended to you, I have the same, the 32-inch at the top, and then I have a curved 21:9 at the bottom, which is 1440p. But I do it because I use it for work and PC gaming and all of that stuff. But for you, I would say, like, if you, as a person who's used the curved monitor for some years now, once you've used it for X amount of years, its benefits don't really, like, it's not what you thought it was, unless it's like a curved monitor that's like 32:9 monster all around your face type situation. Then I can see it might do something. This is 21:9. Yeah, big pause. Sorry. This is 21:9, and eventually it kind of fades into the background, and it looks just as normal as a flat monitor does. Anyway, so
all right.
I wouldn't focus my energy on the curve or the straight. I look at the other specs first.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. Well,
but yes, thank you so much for being here.
When I get the monitor and unbox it, we're doing it on this show.
He's going to unbox his Series X, 3 years at that point? After the console was released, after he received it?
It's going to be magical.
He's had this thing in his house for how long now? And you haven't even opened it. You don't even know what it looks like.
It's black.
Insane, bro. Anyway. I appreciate you still for coming on the show. Yeah, I appreciate you for being here. It's always great having you here. Your stories, your experiences always benefits the show. So thank you so much for being here. Thanks, Mr. Everborn Saga, I see you are on mute and your camera's off. Would you want to share some more footage of what you're working on?
No, not yet. We're not there yet.
Maybe share a build link to Mr. Mashana Loon here. He's working on the second iteration of the game.
Oh man, we gotta chop it up, man. I want to.
Yeah, this is just the splash screen.
He's working on a beat 'em up. Yes.
Dope.
We're making it happen finally.
Cool, man.
Yeah, so soon as more builds can be shown off, as assets get in place and all that, you can expect to see more real cool stuff from Mr. Everborn Saga on this show. We're
working on a hit counter today.
Oh, okay. Are you gonna have them pop off, or it's just gonna be?
I'm trying to figure out whether I just want it in the top right corner or if I want it to be above the character's head. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So we're gonna try different things. I have like 3 different control schemes that we're gonna have to settle on one for on mobile, whether we want to do gestures or on-screen buttons and things like that.
We appreciate Mr. Everborn developer, sharing some of the background deets. It's always cool to have to crack it open a little bit and share with the fine people, some of the details, some of the logistics of what you do and to get these games and these books and stuff out. So maybe as development goes further, you can. No,
I'm definitely going to let the community be a part of the game once it's in a better place, because I definitely want people to see how the sausage is made, and I want to encourage people to just start doing this. It's not as
stuff for themselves.
It's not as hard as you think, and a lot of the mysticism has been taken out by.
Let me while we're in the outro phase
and Unity.
Let me while we're in the outro, let me share this with you real quick. As I've said on a few occasions, I've even done a couple of this. You'll never see the game release that I've put together, but I literally one day went, I want to build a game. And then I came here, and at the time they had a bundle deal, and it cost me all of $20. They gave me assets. They gave me step-by-step instructions on how to do it. I literally built a couple of games and got it running on my console of choice. You can come to Humble Bundle and you can do that. See, here's the RPG Game Dev one. There's a bunch of them. They give you assets, tutelage, video instruction. Are you using Unity? Are you using Unreal? Is it 3D? Is it 2D? The whole situation. You have it here. All you need to do is have some time, have some passion for it, make an effort, and you can start on your path, and you'll learn something that maybe can take you someplace interesting. So, that is our the more you know for the Saturday morning.
Nice.
Exactly.
That's dope.
So yes, Everborn, tell us again where you will be this week. What you got going on? Tell the fine people about the Everborn saga.
This week I'm going to be, again, we're hot and heavy into the development phase, so we're trying out a lot of things. So I'll be doing a lot of time in just the Everborn game, so the Redlands game. And
this book, by the way,
this is the game is based off this book that we just released earlier this year. And I will be finishing Shredder's Revenge and As Dusk Falls, but I also want to try Multiverses because I keep hearing everybody talk about it. I have to try that. And
it's literally a clone. It's a clone for what do you call it? Smash Brothers. Literally Smash Brothers. I don't know, but continue. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll try. That's a game that you really do need to play with people. So you'll see about that. You really do need to play that with people.
So what you're seeing on screen is the basis of the game that we're making. So you can see the pages kind of lend themselves to being a beat 'em up game.
So if you want to, if before the game comes out, you want to get yourself acclimated with the characters and the story in the world,
buy the book.
Go to the everbornsaga.com, pick out book 1, chapter 1 of the Redlands, $10 on sale. Don't sit there and appreciate the man's work. Don't throw him a couple bucks. You'll enjoy the story. It's a very fun story, and when the game comes out, you'll recognize the characters that you're playing as.
Yes, and when you buy this book, it funds my slander and conspiracy theories too. So
there you go.
Just saying, every little bit helps.
Indeed. So once again, I want to thank all the folks in the chat. Oh, I see.
By the way, just one thing: what you have on screen, that is going to be a move in the game.
Oh yeah, for real? Like right here?
Yeah. Because the old guy, he's kind of a speedster, so he can.
So what you're saying is, you want to see some moves in the game? There are a few here and there that come up as the story goes. That's cool.
Yes.
All right. I was gonna say real quick, Umbra. I see. And again, I was appreciative enough to be able to join the Xbox Infinite podcast yesterday. So shout out to them. Umbra unfortunately was not there. He had come down with the T virus, so he wasn't able to join us. I see you're in the chat now. I hope you're feeling better, good sir. It was unfortunate I couldn't chat with you yesterday. We'll chat again soon. But again, thanks to everybody in the chat. I see so many faces, so many like familiar faces that we've had before, and some new ones. Where we're marching our way to 1K. We're already at 600 subscribers, so I'm patting myself and Mr. Everborn Saga virtually in the back. Thank you so much. You guys keep supporting us, and being so appreciative of it. When we miss a show or we miss an episode, we see all the we see all the comments in the chat. When we weren't there, I forgot to change the information and stuff.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't my fault last week, Slow-Mo.
I got a kick out of that one. That was real good. That was real good. But okay, we will end it there. It's been an awesome show from Mr. Everborn Saga, our great guest, Miss Mashana Loon. We appreciate you all checking us out. We'll be here next week. In between that, we're working on things here and there. We're still working on giveaways we're doing towards the end of the year. I'm still working on maybe putting some recorded content out there, because not everybody can join us on this at this time slot. We understand it's difficult for people globally, so maybe we'll start recording things and dropping it in the feed from time to time. But we appreciate the audio listeners, the video watchers. Thank you guys so much. If you haven't done so already, on the way out, consider hitting the like button. Consider subscribing, because it all helps us getting our way to that 1K. And until next week, we say thank you so much and have a great rest of your weekend. Peace.
Take care, guys.